Cheers, queers! What's on the big gay agenda today, Theora?
Today we are completing, hopefully, our discussion of Blank the Series, Season 2, Episode 3, the birthday episode.
The birthday episode.
The birthday episode. Woo woo! Indeed. As a quick disclaimer, this is going to be a discussion episode if for some reason you're new here. These are all of our opinions. We've been getting weird comments now on our YouTube channel. These are our opinions. We didn't work on this show. We're not experts in this. We're just giving our queer opinions about this. If you disagree, that's fine. But that's what this is going to be. So we're going to keep doing that going forward. If you're interested in more Blank content or just girl love content, just become a Patreon. There's so much crap over there just for $5 a month. There's so much stuff. Have fun. For free, become a Discord member. Gay scream with us about everything. Let's get into this.
Beautiful intro, Theora.
There you go.
All right. Another beautiful intro is part 3.
Oh, man. The cutest.
Little Nueng drops by the palace to bond with Auntie Nim. We're not ready for this scene.
Yeah, no, this might be the cutest scene in the entire show. This was not in the book. They wrote this into the show. Because, again, they're trying to, show that the two Nuengs are going out of their way to, make this relationship feasible by, winning over their significant other's family member. We kind of saw Big Nueng try to do that with Chet, who's the worst. Now, Little Nueng is trying to do that with, Big Nueng's surrogate grandmother. Of her own accord. This was so cute, this whole scene. I can't even with how cute it is.
And it starts with Little Nueng coming into the kitchen, and there's just a smile on her face. And I think she genuinely does like Nim and does see her as a sort of grandmother for Big Nueng. And I know we saw Big Nueng do it with Chet, but But it's so nice, seeing her try to kind of bond with her in-law.
Yeah, and it's really cute, and of course it's Little Nueng. Little Nueng has the brain cell always, and so when Auntie Nim is the master of the house is out, Little Nueng's I know, I'm here to see you, not my girlfriend. It's she picked this time specifically because she knew Big Nueng was not going to be here, so she's I gotta get my in with the in-law, so let me come over when Big Nueng's not there so that we can have alone time. Yeah.
I kind of wish we saw Auntie Nim more when the grandmother was still alive to see the dynamic more.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I will take the stand-in grandmother.
Yeah, exactly. So, the scene reads, the fact that Little Nueng did this deliberately when they could have one-on-one time, it's Little Nueng is seeking approval. That's what she's doing here. She's trying to demonstrate to Big Nueng's, quote, family that she's worthy of Big Nueng. So, I love that she goes through all that. It's really great. And then we get into the cooking lesson because she's basically hey, my girlfriend can cook. Teach me how to cook. So, because, Little Nueng's... I don't know if Little Nueng has baseline knowledge of cooking or, because her grandmother was kind of super overbearing. Kind of is the wrong word. And so, did she ever let Little Nueng in the kitchen, do anything at all, remotely dangerous? Who knows? So, I love that Auntie Nim's okay, let's do this lesson. And then she sets up all these little bowls with all the ingredients, because, gather the ingredients is step 1. And I just want to say, as a general cooking critique, just in general, the tiny bowls just makes more things to clean. At the end of the day, did we need tiny bowls for everything? There's more things to clean now.
Okay, so I have a love-hate relationship with this. This is a pretty common thing with cooking, especially with, you see it a lot in cooking shows.
Right, because when they're filming, that totally makes sense. I'm just saying in general. Now there's
it technically makes cooking easier because everything's ready. So when you're the recipe calls for this, you're oh, it's right here, already portioned, throw it in. Totally. But I get it also makes more dishes. So this option is only good if you have someone else cleaning for you.
Correct. Which I'm sure Auntie Nim does not. So she's damn, I gotta show you how to do this. So she just created more. I'm sure when she cooks, she doesn't do this because the bitch knows it by heart. The way Big Nueng, when she cooks, there was no bowls. The bitch was just cooking but the souls of her ancestors in that kitchen. She was just vibing with it.
I feel like Big Nung was taught to cook with, like, all the little bowls, and Big Nung was like, I'm not cleaning all this shit.
Right, no. Like, as I said, the Big Nung cooks from her heart. Like, she doesn't need it. She doesn't even have a recipe. She's just going. I'm sure Auntie Nim is the same way, but, like, to do the demonstration, she's like, gotta bust out my tiny custard bowls to show you this shit. Now I gotta clean all... Anyway, well, the saving grace is that Little Nung is so cute, and Auntie Nim is so moved by the end of the scene. She's like, I'll clean the dishes, it's fine. Like, that's how powerful Little Nung is in this scene. She, like, super wins over Auntie Nim at the end. Super cute.
Spoiler alert for the secret word at the end. It has to do with this, what we're talking about right now. And I didn't even think about it when I picked it out. I don't know why. I guess I thought of cooking.
No one knows why.
And I was like, oh, that's a word that I learned from a cooking show and I don't think would be used. But now, yeah. So, look forward to something.
Woo woo.
I'll teach you what it is later.
Okay, so then we get into it. So at first, Auntie Nim is like, I don't really understand why you're here. You're the guest. Because she's the guest in the house. Nobody knows who Little Nung is. Not really. Auntie Nim's seen some things. She's scarred for life. But she still doesn't really know who Little Nung is, which we'll get into in a minute. So when Little Nung comes into the kitchen and she's like, oh, want to teach me how to cook? And Auntie Nim's like, you don't need to cook. You're the guest. Like, you should just order takeout. Like, why would you cook in a stranger's kitchen? That's kind of weird. And Auntie Nim's comment that, like, she could just order food instead of cooking it, she's like, it's more convenient for you, the guest. We already learned this lesson, Auntie Nim. Cooking means to put effort into something, which is a action to show you love somebody. So, like, Little Nung already knows that lesson because she's, again, the emotionally mature one who understands love better than her 30-something-year-old girlfriend. Who's a hot mess.
No, better than anyone in this show.
Literally anybody else in the show. Yeah, correct. She's the most emotionally mature character. But the real reason Little Nung's here is that there's, like, an imbalance in their relationship that she's trying to correct because Big Nung, so far, has been doing all of the cooking for her. And Little Nung's like, we gotta be equal. If we're gonna be a healthy partnership, let's be equal. But I don't know how to cook, so I gotta learn from somebody who knows how to cook what Big Nung likes. Enter Auntie Nim. Like, that's the other reason we're here. It's like bonding with the in-law, but also Little Nung's trying to learn a skill to make their relationship better. So, like, Little Nung is just girlfriend material. She's all the green flags in the world in this scene. It's amazing.
She really is.
All right. Then we get into, like the palace rules part, because Auntie Nim keeps calling Little Nung kun anung, like miss, like, very formal, and Little Nung's like, you just call me by my regular name. You don't need the kun stuff. It's fine. I'm just anung. Whatever. Just call me by my name. And Auntie Nim's like, no. This is the Bua Palace. There are rules in the Bua Palace. The ghosts enforce the rules. I can't break the rules or I'll get hexed forever. And we know this about Auntie Nim. We've seen Auntie Nim stick to rules the whole time, right? Because that's part of living in this palace, is abiding by the traditions, is another way to kind of look at that. So Little Nung's other motivation in this scene is to learn what the actual rules are here and what are all the intricacies of living in a palace. Because while Little Nung was well off when she grew up, like, she was fairly wealthy, she didn't grow up in this kind of generational wealth where there's, like, traditional rules in the house you have to, like, live with, and all these servants and things. That part's new. So she's just like, what is this? Where do I fit? And how can I fit? Right? Because, again, she wants to move in. We know this since the first episode, and she needs to learn what the deal is to properly U-Haul into this place. And, like, who has the keys to the palace? It's Auntie Nim. So that's the other reason why she's here. So she's like, okay, all right, rule number 1, you're going to have to address me formally at all times. Weird, but we'll go with it. She's like, and I love Little Nung's response. It's really like, whatever makes you comfortable. Like, again, like, Little Nung's like, if that's what you want to call me, I'm fine with that. That's what makes you happy. Fine. Call me whatever you want. It's great. Then she's like, okay, I want a cooking lesson because Big Nung is such an amazing cook. I want to get on her level. And she's like, I'm guessing you're the one who taught her to be such a good cook. And I love this because she's trying to butter up Auntie Nim. by like equating Big Nung's royal cuisine to like Auntie Nim, which Little Nung has been sleeping over, so she's been eating Auntie Nim's cooking. So it's another way to say like, damn girl, like your food is so good. Like she's like trying to score points here, which she's a little mastermind.
I'm trying to picture her going in there being like, damn girl, your food is
Could you imagine? Wait, could you imagine? Sorry, that's just how I talk. But could you imagine Auntie Nim's reaction after being like, kun anung, and then Little Nung's like, damn girl, this slaps. And then Auntie Nim's like, what is happening in this? The clashing of like tradition versus like new age language would just be really funny, like if she did that. But no, Little Nung's like being polite in the scene, but she's trying to score points. You know, she's got her head in the game for the scene. So Little Nung's like, Big Nung's such a good cook, I assume she learned it from you. And Auntie Nim's like, no, she learned that from the grandmam, which is hilarious because poor Little Nung deflates immediately. She's like, fuck. Well, I can't butter her up. The bitch is ghosting the palace, or haunting the palace right now. Like, damn.
But I loved learning this because I was so caught off guard by this that I was like, oh, okay. So they did spend time together while she was growing up. Like, I mean, hopefully it was like wanted lessons. It had to have been because she actually did learn stuff. So I'm picturing like these cute little scenes when she was like really young of like learning to make stuff with the grandmother, and that was like the only way they could bond. That's what I'm picturing.
I think they bonded over a lot of things when Big Nung was younger, because as a kid there's less pressure on you. But I think when Big Nung transitioned into like a teenager and like heading towards adulthood, that's when I think all the stuff really ramped up for Big Nung. But we got flashbacks, like when after the grandman passed away, when Big Nung was thinking about the good memories, what were some of those memories, like sharing a meal with the grandmam? And so it could have been something they prepared together and were like sitting down to eat it. And I think because she grew up in, this seems to be a cultural thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like in my culture, it's the same thing. I'm Italian heritage, and so like food is a huge thing, and like to feed somebody is to show you love them, which is why like it's extremely rude to go into an Italian person's house and not eat anything. It's rude, like it's seen as an affront to the person, and like keep eating. It's a way to show that you like the person and you care about them, right? And so I think that food also culturally is a way to show you love somebody, and so I think that that's something that like the grandmam and Nung bonded over. Like it's part of the culture, but also I think it's something they did together, which like further solidified in Big Nung's brain that like cooking for somebody, feeding somebody is a way to show you really love them without saying it. Because again, this is a household where people don't say how they feel, they show you how you feel, because that's like polite society kind of stuff. You know, the conceal don't feel stuff with Big Nung. It even went into love, where it's like you don't say it, you show it in these proper kind of ways. So, you know, I can kind of see that, them having like cooking, and also like it's family. I'm sure like even with their status, like there's certain foods that like probably is like, this is what you make for like a formal event. This is what you make for like special occasions, for like holidays or like whatever. And I'm sure that the grandmam, who is a very traditional person, was probably passing down things to the eldest granddaughter to like carry on other traditional things that have to do with meal preparation, because sometimes that's part of like high society with like the female role. So I wonder if that was part of like quote like Nung's royalty lessons, was like, hey, learn how to make this dish, because we see it in the Loyal Pin where like Pin is like constantly like learning all of these little things. I wonder if Nung, when she grew up, had a degree of that going. Probably not to the extent that like Pin, because Pin was on a different level. So like she was in the Loyal Pin, she's being raised to be like a hostess type of lady who like runs like high society events and oversees them like her aunt does. But I wonder if like Nung had a degree of that growing up, and so like, but she was taught from her grandmother, so that was their main bonding thing until like Nung got into art, and like the grandmam kind of fostered that and things like that. Yeah, I like the way food is tied into like a lot of things in this story. It's a big part of who I think Big Nung is, And so I that's why one of the reasons I really appreciate the scene with little Nueng, because like she's again trying to like weave herself into Big Nueng's life, and like this is a big part of like Big Nueng, you know. So I love this scene a lot from that aspect.
I find it interesting that they cooked at all because they have servants and cooks. So
yeah, totally.
I mean, I have no idea what that's like. I would love to one day, but that's a different story. So it's just interesting that they cooked at all, and I'm wondering if that's also just like a status thing, like, oh,
right,
yeah, with all my like my free time, I made this fancy thing, like you pointed out in the loyal pin. It was like that's what you did, make fancy things with the free time you had,
right,
to show the status.
yeah. I'm curious. I would honestly love a series. It would be frustrating, but I would love a series where like I would love the author to go back to like their childhood. Like let's see a little bit before, like when they had their parents, and then like what happened to the parents, and then like them entering the palace with the grandmam and kind of how they were raised. I think that would be a really interesting, with Song being there, I think that would be a really interesting story to kind of tell, because yes, we know the outcome and all the trauma, but like just to see how they got there, and like the moments like this where like Nueng and Sam and Song bonded with their because they did love their grandmother. There are good moments. I would love to see some of them and like what that kind of looked like at that age, and like how the rift formed. I think that would be a really interesting story. Despite like us knowing how it ends, like I still think it would be a really good story to tell. Anyway, that was a huge tangent about Big Nueng. We're sorry, but it's relevant to this scene. Okay, so I love when Auntie Nim's like, the grandmam taught Nueng how to cook. And poor little Nueng, she's like, damn it. So Auntie Nim's like, well, you know, so Nueng's like, shit, well, I can't learn the best cooking because the bitch is dead. So shit. Damn it. And like little Nueng's like, buttering up of Auntie Nim kind of like fell flat. She's like, all right, well, gotta be charming in a different way. So little Nueng basically points out that she's like, well, the grandmam must have been really great, like, because she didn't really know her. She knows disturbing things about her, but she doesn't really know the grandmam at all, because like they saw each other once at the centennial event for the school, and Big Nueng was like, get away from her. So like they never actually interacted. So little Nueng's like talking out of her ass in the scene, but she's being respectful because she can see that the grandmam was a big deal in this house. So she's like, oh, you know, she must have been really great and this and that. And Auntie Nim mentions that the grandmam loved Nueng so much. And we've gone over this a million times, that Big Nueng and the grandmam, their point of view on all of this. But let's talk about like their relationship. But let's talk about Auntie Nim for a second and her point of view when it comes to like Nueng, Big Nueng, and the grandmam. Because I imagine she's been working in this palace probably before the sisters got here. I get the impression she's been here a very long time. Like, so I think she has seen the progression of this whole thing from start to finish with like the sisters, including Big Nueng and the grandmam. And I think she, again, as mistress of the house, she's one of those people where like, you know, quote, like the servant class, like they're flies on the wall. You know, the usually like the high upper class, you don't notice them. They're just there, but they notice everything, right? So I think that Auntie Nim really saw the good moments between them too, the things that we were not privy to. And I think she noticed they both share their stubbornness, like Big Nueng and the grandmam. She saw the fallout. And I think she saw how the grandmam coped with all of this when she was all alone in the palace after Nueng was gone, Song was gone, Sam was gone. Well, Sam was still around, but like, you know what I mean. Sam still had to go to like work, quote, and like, so sometimes the grandmam was like actually alone. And I think Auntie Nim must have been the closest person to the grandmam, like that the grandmam had, to like a confidant, because again, she's a high society lady. She was never going to talk about any of this stuff honestly with anybody, because like social scandal, and like she wouldn't even talk about it with Nueng. She's like, Nueng, let's just move on, we're not going to talk about this. She's not that kind of person that was going to like divulge her dirty laundry, so to speak. So I think Auntie Nim is the closest thing to a confidant, because Auntie Nim saw it all happen, or like was like around it to get the most complete picture out of anybody. So I think that Auntie Nim knew how much the falling out with Big Nueng really did affect the grandmam. Like Sam got a sense of it, but I think Auntie Nim was around more to really witness it. And Auntie Nim also was the one that saw Big Nung's reaction to the grandmam, like the grandmam's room. Like, remember when Nung goes back in the room and like starts bawling her eyes out like immediately after she passed away, and she's like, preserve it the way she kept it and all that stuff. So Auntie Nim knows more than anybody how much the grandmam loved Big Nung and how much Big Nung loved her grandmother. And so her saying this to Little Nung, I think, carries a lot of weight because she does actually, she's like the expert on this topic at this point. So Auntie Nim also brings up the quote, the follow the palace rules mindset into this conversation. And so I do wonder what her opinion of Big Nung really is at this stage. Like, did she harshly judge Big Nung's like rebellion when she left the palace? Because Auntie Nim is all about the rules, and like eldest daughter is supposed to do all these things, and like Nung was like, fuck this shit, I'm out. I wonder what Auntie Nim's like what did she think of Nung in those moments, you know? And how is Auntie Nim coping with Big Nung's seemingly like lackadaisical approach to quote all these rules? Because anytime Auntie Nim brings up the rules to Nung, Nung's like, fuck the rules, this is my life. I do wonder, like, what does Auntie Nim actually think about Nung? Because like Nung is different, and it's not a bad thing. It's just like she's different, and like she represents. I think what Big Nung really represents is change to the palace. The palace being like a traditional kind of place, and Nung is like an element of change that's going to alter the palace forever. And so like I just kind of wonder like Auntie Nim's like journey with Big Nung, changing the palace and stuff. And here comes Little Nung, who's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm also here to change the palace. Like I just wonder what goes on in her head.
It would be very interesting to get her like inner thoughts. Yeah. I don't know how it would, especially without doing your narration thing that you hate.
I just don't like. Okay, I don't. It's not that I hate voiceovers. I hate unnecessary voiceovers. Like Warrior Nun had a lot of unnecessary voiceovers that were just wildly unnecessary. But they do serve a place, like, especially when you have a book. Like, this book, this adaptation would have made sense to have Big Nung have, not that Big Nung would, but to have Big Nung have, like, inner monologue thoughts, because that's how the book is written. It's from her point of view, so you have her inner monologue. So when you add up something to a screen and you remove the inner monologue, that's kind of how the reader understands what's going on with the character. The character's explicitly telling you through their thoughts, kind of how they're feeling, what they're thinking, things like that. So, like, you have to, like, alter the story on screen because you lose that element that's so crucial. So like some adaptations, like I'll say Reverse for You does that, where the book is told from Giotto's point of view mostly, and so like her inner monologue is so important in the book. So like in the show they do have inner monologue, like they have voiceovers because it's her inner monologue, and there's some things you can't convey on screen without it, so like they do interject it, but it's in a way that makes sense. It's like it adds. It's not just like, I didn't need this thought that's useless, like in Warrior Nun. They just have inner monologues that are completely pointless. Anyway.
That is true. Okay.
That's what I don't like. It's not that I don't like voice. It's when it's like having a crossfade that means nothing. Okay, remember how that drove you crazy in Gap? The inner monologue, the reckless use of inner monologue drives me crazy because I'm like, this adds nothing. It takes me out of what I'm watching. But anyway, yeah, to have inner monologues with Auntie Nim, like, you could have probably had him in the screen. Not that it's in the book. Anyway, I know it's not super relevant. I just wonder, because, like, we get bits and pieces of the backstory of, like, Nung, the sisters. And this is somebody who, like, probably saw all of that. So it would have been interesting to get, like, a little bit more of her point of view, just on, like, all of that kind of stuff. And, like, in the scene, I do love it, because, like, you do see the transformation of Auntie Nim by the end of this episode, where she accepts the quote, the change coming into the palace, which is like the Nungs basically. And like you see that, like, while she is a traditional person and is like at first resistant to changing the quote, the rules that have been in place forever, like she does come to a place of understanding by the end, like giving an element of hope to kind of to all of this.
Going back to what you said earlier about wanting like the childhood story, it would be very interesting to do it from the viewpoint of Auntie Nim.
Yeah, I agree. That would be really interesting.
Because we be like all the other characters, and she's been through those times, so she can be this third party, a reliable narrator, not skewed.
Yeah, no, that would be really interesting. It would be also interesting to have that'd be Song's story, because like you tell that from Song's point of view, and then you get the downfall.
Oh yeah,
It would be the worst at the end, but
that
like
would
to
be
have
the
Song,
darkest show yet. Well, I
it could
don't
just
know.
end. It could just end when like Nueng leaves, and that'd be fine. But like have that be through, because she's the middle child, so that would be interesting to like. Because Sam would be too little to get her point of view.
Yeah, it can just
also getting
like,
it from the grandmam would also be interesting.
it could just end with Song being told, "You're next in line," or like,
Yeah, exactly.
It's
just,
all
like, it
it's
ends.
all up to you now.
Right.
And then
just like dread.
panic. Yeah. And that's
then
how it ends. So
fade
you
to
don't
black.
have to kill the
Yeah.
lesbian.
Yeah. No, that'd be really cool. All right, back to the scene. Sorry we keep getting off topic. It's just like I love the sisters. I think their story is really fascinating. All of this all their family is really, they're one of my favorites. They're all really fascinating. Okay, so anyway, back to this. Little Nueng picked a perfect day to ambush Auntie Nim because Auntie Nim just so happened to be making Big Nueng's favorite food. So good job, Little Nueng. Your timing is perfect. And because I don't know that Little Nueng knew this, but if she didn't, she now knows what Big Nueng's favorite food is. So you know she's going to file that away forever and make masaman curry. And when she's in trouble, and she's like, I gotta win over Big Nueng. So anytime she's gotta really butter up Big Nueng, so Big Nueng eventually is gonna be like, what'd you do? Why is this here? What happened? Anyway, I can see them doing that in the future. Anyway, so like, Auntie Nim's like, all right, let's make the curry. It's Big Nueng's favorite. So Little Nueng is so cute. She like puts on an apron and like saddles up to Auntie Nim, and she's just in this scene so fiercely determined to do everything she can to get this right because, you know, she cares about her relationship with Big Nueng so much. It's just, her dedication is very sweet. Okay, now let's get into the actual cooking lesson because I have a tiny rant about the knife technique, and I've seen this in multiple shows, and I don't know if this is like a thing. But Auntie Nim did not teach Little Nueng how to cut with this particular knife. It's not like a cleaver. It's not like a cleaver, like a straight blade. It's a curved blade. And the way to safely cut with one of these knives is to like keep like the top, the most distal part of the knife furthest away from the handle, like on the cutting board, and then you do this rocking motion so that you have more control of the knife. But Little Nueng instead uses the distal end of the knife to start the cutting, and like this, I'm like, you're gonna cut yourself, like the way you're using the knife. I've seen this on multiple shows, so I'm like, just for your own safety, like don't cut things like Little Nueng is doing, like to protect yourself. Just that's all I'm saying.
I think Little Nueng needs to watch a cooking show.
Yes. I'm surprised she didn't. Well, this is a bonding moment, honestly. She probably could have, but she's like, I gotta win over the in-law.
She did that later. She's like, okay, I need some more techniques here. So let's do some research.
Right.
That's how I learned how to chop food. I would see people like chop really quickly. I'm like, I want to do that. And so I learned it all because my grandmother would watch cooking shows.
All right. So, no, yeah, cooking shows are great. Well, anyway, that's a whole other rant. Let's not do that. Okay. Nueng inevitably and shockingly cuts her hand because her knife technique is not the best for not cutting yourself. But I love her in this scene. Okay, so what happens? She cuts herself unexpectedly. She does not panic. She just very calmly cleans it and gets right back to work. Like, that's how determined Little Nueng is to do this. Like showing that, like, when it comes to Little Nueng, even when there's some kind of setback when it comes to their relationship, like, she's just gonna keep going. Like, she's like, okay, whatever, I learned, I will move forward now. Like, I love this. And I have to point out, when Little Nueng cuts herself, one of Big Nueng's bird friends starts chirping in the background, and I think that bird is trying to find Big Nueng and tell her what happened, because Big Nueng is Cinderella, I will die on that hill. It's only Big Nueng scenes where there's the birds. You're welcome if you never noticed that.
We did have a few comments like that. Sorry. It's like Theora saying a line of it. Never mind. Anyway, we also get the theme song here, which means that the scene is important to their character development. That is what I've gathered from the times they have used it during scenes. Like, it seems to be... like, go ahead.
I was gonna say, there's multiple theme songs. Specifically, it's Be My Boo, Yoko's song. And it tends to play in Little Nung scenes. So I think it's her character development song more than anything else.
Okay.
Big Nung gets these, like, I don't know what the song is, but she gets a lot of instrumental songs. Little Nung gets the Be My Boo, which is, I think, her song. But I agree with you. I think that is what it's demonstrating.
There is a slower one without the word.
There's multiple versions of Be My Boo. Yeah, there is an instrumental, but that tends to happen with Little Nung. I meant there's other, like,
this is like the first time I realized it for some reason, that it was like, I guess I'm just so used to hearing it that I tuned it out while watching it. But like this time I'm like, oh no, it's definitely used a lot in this show.
Particularly Little Nung moments. Like later, I think when she gets the keychain, it also plays.
Yes.
It's Little Nung moments.
Of it.
All right, so Little Nung cuts her hand. Auntie Nim kind of freaks out for a minute, but then notices that, like, Little Nung is calm about this. So Auntie Nim, like, goes and was like, okay, I know where the first aid is because this is my kitchen. And so she starts bandaging Little Nung's hand, and Little Nung's watching her do this, and I think this is when it clicks for Little Nung that her plan worked. Because Auntie Nim is, accepting her in a way, because she's taking care of her and, like, helping her, like, keep going. So I love that. She's just like, oh, yay! I won over the in-law.
That's her sign of affection for her.
Yeah.
Because she cares enough to want to help her. But I was also thinking it could be seen just as her job, because Little Nung is a guest, and it's her duty to help Little Nung put the Band-Aid on. But later, she also cares enough to ask if she is okay. When she gets, like, that spice, I think, in her eye.
Yeah, she gets the chili in her eye. That hurts like a bitch. Poor Little Nung.
Also, she recovered way too quickly with that, too.
That's how determined she is. You know that was still stinging her eye. Because, like, chili powder, like, lingers when that happens. Like, the poor girl.
I also want to point out that when she goes back to cutting, she uses the same exact way that she got cut.
Nim. Auntie Nim, teacher. Help her.
Auntie Nim really needs to, like, at least curl your fingers in so you're not going to chop
exactly.
Hold your finger
the potato,
off.
yeah. I know.
Like, I'm surprised she doesn't have a Band-Aid on every single finger by the end of this.
Could you imagine if she came out, like, later when she comes out to Nung and her whole
There's
hand
just, like, Band-Aids.
I was like, what the fuck happened? No food is worth this. Jesus. Anyway. You know you can't tell Little Nung no when she's determined. Like, come on now. Anyway, so I love that the knife stuff does not freak out Little Nung. What does freak her out is frying the fish. Like, this was so cute. The way, like, she's terrified to get near the oil, and, like, Auntie Nim is just very calmly walking her through. She's like, no, it's fine. Like, she grabs her hand to be like, it's okay, watch. Like, I'm with you. Like, it's okay. And I feel like this scene is, like, a metaphor for, like, facing your fears head on with the support of somebody who cares about you, because that's what's happening. Little Nung's terrified, and Auntie Nim's like, no, I'm here with you. You're not alone. Like, let's go. And then together they conquer frying of the fish. So I think that's, like, a metaphor. A little bit.
Okay, and because you said it was a metaphor, I tried to think more into it. Okay, and this is what I have come up with. So in the scene, Auntie Nim says that if the oil is hot enough, then it won't splatter. This is the metaphor that I'm going with.
Let's do it.
Maybe if the relationship is hot enough, aka the love is great, or, you know, the other hot if you want to talk about that. Anyway, then the relationship won't break or splatter. It's when the love is dulling or being broken apart that all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, that's literally the show. Like, literally.
Yeah, that's what I was like, actually,
that's literally
this
the
works
show.
Perfectly.
Literally. Their relationship is pretty fucking hot, I'll say that. Like, hydrate for that, yes.
Yeah, because, and then it won't splatter.
It's not splattering, it's just all these other motherfuckers coming in there and screwing everything up.
Yeah.
So people coming in and turning off the gas on the oil.
Yeah, they're like cooling
like,
it
Chet,
down.
stop it!
Cooling it down so that way it's just...
Yeah, throwing chili in everybody's eyes. Like, yeah, that's everybody else. Everybody else but the Nungs. That's, like, kind of the show. Good catch.
Whenever Chet enters the room, oh god.
Literally, like, the power goes out, like... Motherfucker.
Oh my gosh, we have way too much fun. Anyway, so then Big Nun
we're
comes
just having
home.
fun, guys. We're just having fun. You just come on the journey with our
Yes,
weird
no, that
ramblings.
is the point of these discussions.
That's the point.
This whole podcast. We're here to have fun, hopefully
Literally.
entertain some people in the process, and give you something more to think about. These are our.
If you're not into it, move on. You don't need to be here.
I feel
Anyway,
like
if you are here, thank you. Come on the journey.
we need merch.
We're having fun with you guys.
Yes. And boy, have y'all have been having fun with us too. I love you all. Anyway.
I love every single one of you.
We always have a random moment of love for our
literally,
listeners.
it's a beautiful thing when a piece of media brings people together to connect over. That's literally the point of the podcast. That's actually why we founded this thing. So, thank you. I'm glad everyone is here and having fun with this show that really deserves a lot of appreciation, and I'm glad that it still has a lot of appreciation for it, because there is, as you see with the length of these episodes, there's so much to appreciate in this show. It's actually insane.
It's just getting longer.
It's so good. It's so good. Every moment is so good.
Well, let's continue then.
Let us continue.
With Big Nun coming home, and she sees the feast and asks Auntie Nim what the special occasion is, because what is going on?
That's why it's her favorite foods too. So she's like,
yeah.
What did you do, Auntie? Does she have trauma where she's like, my favorite foods, something bad happened, somebody's trying to win me over. What happened? What's going on? She's immediately suspicious.
Grange fam used her favorite food.
Right. You know what I mean?
Too.
Yeah, and I feel like Nun's like, what happened? PTSD.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if like maybe Auntie Nim was making it and she was like going to confront Big Nun again, but she bonded with Little Nun instead, and she like completely changed her viewpoint.
Oh my god, the 180. If that's true, the 180 that that happened here. Amazing. Go Little Nun.
But speaking of 180, Auntie Nim proudly says that there is a new trainee chef, and her smile, like, first of all, she has a beautiful smile, but it says all. She is so proud of what Little Nun has accomplished and is so excited for Big Nun to see it. And we don't get to see, like, this is one of the first times I feel like we see her smile.
Yes, agreed.
And it's nice seeing her be allowed to feel emotions, and she doesn't have to be just like stoic, a servant.
Yes. No,
like,
that is such a good
she's
point.
a real person here, and it's just, I love to see this.
Yeah. I get the impression that at this point, Auntie Nim is more excited about this food thing than Little Nun is. Like, the way she's just glowing with pride that Little Nun did it, and like, she's like, oh, Big Nun's gonna love this. Like, it's so cute. And I love when she's like, oh, we have a trainee chef. And like, Big Nun's, when it cuts to Big Nun, her face is so funny. Because it's almost like she's thinking, I didn't authorize hiring an amateur chef. Like, what the fuck do you mean? She's like, what do you mean? I'm paying somebody else to cook? Why?
Yeah, I was thinking that Big Nun was thinking, who is paying this new chef?
Right. She's like, did I authorize paying for somebody else? What the hell? So funny. She looks so pissed. So that when and then Auntie Nim's like, drum roll, please. Like, Auntie Nim's so excited. I was surprised she did it. And like, she's like, come on out, trainee chef. And Little Nun emerges from the kitchen. And Big Nun goes quiet. And you see her, like, look at the food and, like, process the fact that Little Nun made the feast. And she starts to get all bashful looking. But before she can, like, say anything at all about this, she immediately notices Little Nun's injury. And mind you, Auntie Nim is watching this play out. And she sees now firsthand how much these two actually care about each other. Because Little Nun just spent who knows how many hours bonding with her in the kitchen for Big Nun. And then Big Nun comes in, her favorite, Big Nun, who's like so food motivated, it's ridiculous, comes in, her favorite foods are on the table. What's her first thing? Little Nun, what happened to your hand? Like, in the way she grabs her hand and looks immediately worried. Like, not even excited, just like worried. And like, Auntie Nim's watching this because they had a conversation where Big Nun was like, she's my happiness, she's my everything. And then here's Auntie Nim actually seeing what that means. It's not this like affair thing they're doing. It's not just like sex. It's like they actually care about each other a lot. And like, mind you, Auntie Nim has seen all the phases of Big Nun, the person who never cared about anybody. here she is, very blatantly, like, and openly caring about this person that came here to be the trainee chef, you know? That's huge.
I also feel like Big Nung was bashful in the beginning because she feels like she can't fully show her emotions like we've seen in the past, because as far as she knows, Auntie Nim isn't really approving of this relationship. So, all right. So Big Nung asked Little Nung if she made the food. And yeah, okay, I'm going to restart that one.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I was like, did she ask Auntie? No. Okay. So Big Nung asked Little Nung if she made all this food, and immediately Auntie Nim jumps in, excitedly saying, yes, she made it all. And I love that. But Little Nung is more modest and doesn't want to take all the credit, so she says that she just helped. Like, first of all, Auntie Nim to jump in and just like, yeah, she made it all and didn't take any of the credit. Like, she taught her. She's so proud.
Yeah, like literally so proud. Like again, like the way Little Nung won over Auntie Nim so much that she's like beaming at the end of this is adorable. And then after that, we get to the food eating scene. So she's like, Big Nung, you gotta try the food. Well, actually, Big Nung's like, okay, well, you again, Big Nung processing. She's like, wow, my not a girlfriend, who's my girlfriend, just made all this food for me. Like, who has ever cooked her food? Like, I mean, that's like interested in Big Nung. Nobody.
No.
Everybody buys her things. Like, is like, you know, here's money. No one's ever made her food like this in this kind of context. So I think Big Nung doesn't know what to do with this, because to her, when she cooks for Little Nung, she's like, I'm showing you I love you. So then here she is getting this giant meal, her favorite foods from Little Nung. So she's like, oh my God, she loves me. Like, I think she just doesn't know what to do with her feelings. So she's like, okay, I guess I'll try it. And so they both sit down, and like, I love Little Nung. Little Nung has no chill in the scene. She's just like, eat it, eat more. You gotta chew it. Like, what does it taste like? Big Nung's like, I think Big Nung's just like, oh my God, this is the best day ever. And like, is just trying to like keep her emotions in check. But like, Little Nung is like, tell me, do you hate it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Like, she's just panicking. It's so funny.
I get it though, because you work so hard on something that you just learned how to do, and you just hope the person likes it. But even if Big Nung hated it, she still would have eaten the whole thing.
No, because it's not about the food. It's about the fact that Little Nung put all this effort into doing something just for her. That's what Big Nung values and cares about. So yeah, even if like Little Nung put sugar instead of salt, she still would have eaten it and been like, this is the best thing ever. Because you made it. Like, you put so much effort. And she does say that. She's like, how could I not like it? You put so much effort into it. That's what I care about. You're showing me you care about me, and not just like saying it over and over again. Yeah, this is what Big Nung wants. This is what how Big Nung wants to be courted. So like, Little Nung's doing it. So it's just, yeah, like she's just freaking out, and she's very flustered in this scene. Like, if you really watch her, she can barely form sentences because she's just so overwhelmed by like getting what she wants. Like, it's like, it's perfect.
So perfect. But can we talk about the smallest bite in the world that Big Nung took?
I know. I think she was nervous. She's like, I know you don't know how to cook.
Yeah, I was like, did she think
I'm not confident in this?
Good? Or is this just like porn adjacent to her?
She did not cover her mouth when she ate the food. So yeah, it could be like, I have to take a dainty piece so this isn't super pornographic. Meanwhile, nobody else has this mindset except her. That's why Little Nung's like, is it bad? You took a tiny bite? Yeah, exactly. She's the only one that thinks this.
It's like, how could she really taste it? Because it was like one little piece of like the entire dish. Like,
I don't know. It's Big Nung. Her brain's not working right now. Like, Little Nung has her so flustered right now, her brain is not working. So, who has the big gay energy in this scene? Little Nung.
Auntie Nim.
Also Auntie Nim. Meanwhile, speaking of which, Auntie Nim is watching these two disaster gays do whatever this is. And before Big Nung can comment on the cooking, she makes eye contact with Auntie Nim and holds it for like a hot second. And I wonder if Big Nung is thinking to herself, what is the proper palace way to react to my girlfriend making me dinner? Because, again, I'm sure she wants to sing sonnets to Little Nung or take her upstairs or do something. But, like, Auntie Nim's right there. So, Little Nung interrupts whatever this is by whining for a review. She's like, tell me how it is. And then Big Nung's gaze drops from Auntie Nim to Little Nung. And this huge smile breaks out across her face. And it's almost like, in that moment, because I wonder if part of what Big Nung was doing by, like, being kind of reserved, not just the big gay energy, but was because, like, she has an audience. And that freaks her out a bit when it comes to, like, dropping the mask entirely, her emotional, like, armor, so to speak. With Little Nung, it's pretty much gone at this point. But still, like, other people, it's harder for her, right? She's on a process to learn how to do that. So when her eyes drop to Little Nung, it's almost like she gets tunnel vision when she makes eye contact with Little Nung and forgets Auntie Nim is even there. And nobody else acknowledges Auntie Nim for the rest of this. And then she honestly answers Little Nung, it's delicious because you made it. And then they just talk in their own bubble. Nobody else acknowledges Auntie Nim again. Like, it's like immediate tunnel vision. And Big Nung drops all the mask and is just herself with Little Nung for the rest of this.
Something I want to point out is that Little Nung says, the oil almost splattered on me. It's good that I dodged it in time. And going back to the previous metaphor we talked about with the oil, to me, this is foreshadowing the end of the series. She may not have dodged that car, but she definitely dodged the people trying to keep them apart.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm really liking this metaphor thing. Thank you for bringing up the word metaphor.
You're welcome. You gotta love that foreshadowing. All right. In the middle of this, so Auntie Nim is watching the love fest, the hard eyes happening at this table. And she recalls an event earlier with Little Nung when they were making the food. And Little Nung was, like, looking at her like she's, like, busting to ask her something. She's just, like, trying to conceal it. And Auntie was like, what's going on, Little Nung? And Little Nung asks, like, well, I want to know what the rules of the house are, because she's like, she's like, I want to fit into the palace. I want to know how to adjust myself since I didn't grow up here. Tell me what the rules are so I can conform and become a member of the household, basically.
And Auntie Nim is realizing that Little Nung feels like everyone hates her. And
feels like an outsider is the thing.
Yeah. And she insists that no one hates her. Everyone just doesn't know what her role in the palace is. Like, she is kind of a guest, but not really a guest, because Big Nung treats her like a queen. And first of all, everyone, especially if they know Big Nung, is very confused by this.
Yeah, but also in the hierarchy, Big Nung is the queen. So it is really confusing that this, like, guest is getting elevated and the guest is always here. And the guest is 100% sleeping in Nung's room. So it is confusing.
And they keep finding remnants of the guest all around the palace.
Right. So Big Nung's not in the scene. Auntie Nim explains, she's like, it's not that people dislike you. I'm sure the vibe that Little Nung's getting is that people probably, like, look at her weird or, like, ignore her, and she's just like, I don't know what to make of this. So Auntie Nim's like, look, nobody hates you. That's not what's going on here. The thing is that, like, we're not used to the fact that Big Nung is here. And Big Nung brought you into the house and you're always here. Like that, and we don't know what the protocol is for this because this has never happened before. And I wonder if here we go, another metaphor. I wonder if this is another metaphor for, like, quote, how to bridge the generational gaps. Because, like I mentioned, Big Nung started changing the palace when she brought Little Nung into the house. Little Nung actually is the catalyst for change. Big Nung was, and then she left, and then came back to the palace, and now has brought Little Nung the change into the palace. And I think the staff are wary of her because she represents that change, and change is the that's not the word, is the opposite of tradition. Like, and tradition survives by not changing. So when Little Nung is saying in this conversation is that she wants to fit in without completely altering the foundation of the palace. Because, like, they see her as a threat. They're like, oh, you're going to change everything? But Little Noong's like, no, I just want to know how I can fit in. I'm not trying to blow up everybody's way of life. And basically, really what she's trying to do is she's trying to adopt the role of Big Noong's wife, which is perfect because in the book, Big Noong comments to Sam that she always saw herself as more of a husband. So, like, this kind of works out. Like, right? Little Noong's trying to be the wife role without, like, saying those words. I
wish they included that in the show.
Oh my god. I know, right? It was such a funny conversation because I forget why they were having that conversation exactly. If you remember, put it in the comments. But they were talking, am I doing about Chet proposing or something? And Noong's like, nah, I never really saw myself as a wife. I always saw myself as more of the husband role. Like, meaning, like, the husband role being, like, the dominant one, the one, you know, the caretaker, that kind of stuff. Which is literally their dynamic.
We know Big Noong.
Big Noong. we get to the husband Noong at the end of this episode. Like, oh my god.
But Little Noong says to Auntie Nim that she's ready to change herself. And the fact that Little Noong is immediately ready to change just to be with Big Noong shows how much she loves her. But girl, don't do that for anyone. Don't change yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I have conflicting thoughts about that sentiment of trying to change yourself. I don't think she's saying, like... I mean, but I don't know. Little Noong is like, listen, I care so much about you, I'm willing to do anything because like, if you think about it, at the end of the day, like, Little Noong is more herself with Big Noong than she is without Big Noong. So she's like, as long as we get to be together, I get to be myself. I don't care what that means outside of the relationship or what I have to do to get it, which, like, is an extreme viewpoint for sure and can be totally problematic, like, acknowledging that. But I think it's trying to demonstrate her, like, commitment to Big Noong, her commitment to their relationship, how much it means to her, how much she's willing to sacrifice. Because sometimes with love comes sacrifice. So, like, I think they're trying to make those points. But, like, your point is valid. Like, completely altering yourself and transforming yourself into somebody you aren't just for a relationship, problematic. Okay, so my favorite part is when, like, Auntie Nim's like, we don't know what your status is in the house. Little Noong her face goes on a journey because she is dying to know what her status is in the house. So she's like, do you know something I don't know? What did Big Noong say? My status is in the house, because I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to get her to admit that I'm her girlfriend, and I have not succeeded yet. So, like, she's like, Auntie Nim, what'd she say about me? Like, let's spill the tea, girl.
I think she is just so happy that she has status in the first place.
That's true. Oh my god. That is true. But Auntie Nim's response is 100% something Big Noong would say. She's like, oh, Big Noong said that she doesn't care if people gossip about you too. Because, again, that's such a Big Noong response, because it, A, doesn't answer the question, and B, which means Little Noong is her wife, and then B, like, she's telling everybody to fuck off. Like, that's such a Big Noong response. I'm sure that's literally how the conversation went down. They're like, what is her status? And she's like, I don't care if you gossip about me. Like, good job, Big Noong. Little Noong's face journey when she hears this is priceless, because at first she's proud that Big Noong said to, quote, her family, I don't care what you think about my relationship. I'm going to date her even harder now, basically, is what the translation of that. But then Little Noong realizes that it's not the best response to win over the traditionalist Auntie Nim, because we need labels in this house so we know how to behave and how to treat you and that kind of stuff. So Little Noong fails miserably at schooling her features because she's so excited. And I love that she just throws Big Noong under the bus to score points with Auntie Nim. And she's like, wow, Big Noong said that? I can't believe that's not nice. Wow. And meanwhile, she's smiling because she's like, Big Noong doesn't give a shit. I love it. This was hilarious, the way she responds to this. So, because Big Noong was not helpful at all, because she completely evades the question when Nim gave it to her, Little Noong decides to take matters into her own hands and clear up what the status is. And she's like, listen, I love her, flat out, in all the romantic ways. And I'm ready to do everything I can to make the people in the house accept us together. Us. That's the status. And before Auntie Nim can really respond or like fully process that, Little Nueng explains that her motivation for that is because she just wants Big Nueng to be happy. That's it.
Again.
She's like, I just want her to be happy. And then I love that when we cut later, and again, like the proceeding up to this memory was just Big Nueng being happy at the table with Little Nueng. Like, and then the fight with Auntie Nim on the balcony where she's like, she's my happiness. But like, and here's Little Nueng being like, I just want her to be happy. And she's happy with me, like, basically.
Yeah, and this is basically, like we've talked about before, Little Nueng promising Big Nueng's parent that she only wants the best for her and she truly loves her. Like,
right.
I promise I won't hurt her. It's basically that conversation.
That's the same.
Yeah. And I know I talked about Auntie Nim's smile before, but we progressively get more and bigger smiles from Auntie Nim throughout these scenes, and I just love it. And it hasn't been what we've seen, and it does show that times are changing in the palace in addition to her accepting the relationship.
Yeah,
I just want everyone to be happy, but then if it's too happy, then I'm like, what the hell, where's the drama? So
I mean, this is it. This is peak happiness, this scene.
Yeah, and she also was able to see that it definitely wasn't Big Nueng pressuring Little Nueng, because this girl has it bad.
Also, I think you can see who's the aggressive one in this relationship. Little Nueng just showed up out of the blue. It's like, I'm here to talk to you. I'm here to set the record straight. Meanwhile, Auntie Nim's like, Big Nueng, what is this? And Big Nueng's like, I don't care if you gossip about me. I'm not answering this. So, like, I think she can see, okay, this is the seductress. This is the aggressive one. I understand now. I knew Big Nueng didn't have it in her. Anyway. Okay, so after this memory, we cut back to the present. And Auntie Nim now, in the present, watching the disaster gaze, like goo-goo eyes over each other, she can see just how happy Big Nueng is when she's with Little Nueng, because Big Nueng's smiling. Okay? Big Nueng never smiles. Here she is, also smiling. Like, I think Auntie Nim knows that about Big Nueng. And so here she is watching her just easily, casually smile, like, with Little Nueng. So Auntie Nim, like, is like, okay, this is, her form of accepting this is, like, giving them the space to just be. And she just, like, kind of quietly, like, goes out of the room to wash all those hundreds of dishes. That's probably what she's doing. Because there's 1,000 of them in that kitchen. So then right after Auntie Nim leaves, one of Big Nueng's bird friends starts chirping. And he got the message about the finger injury a little too late. But A for effort for this bird that showed up to be like, her fingers hurt. And Big Nueng's like, nah, I don't got time for you right now. That's what the birds are thinking, in case you were wondering. This scene.
What are the birds doing off screen?
Following Big Nueng everywhere.
Oh my gosh. Let's do blank from the bird's point of view.
God. That'd be a journey.
Okay. So then Little Nueng brings up that... This says you have to eat a lot.
Yeah, they're talking and she's like, Big Nueng, you gotta eat a lot. Like, you can't just like... Because Big Nueng's like, let's eat it. Let's eat the food. And then she's like, you gotta eat a lot. And she keeps like feeding Big Nueng. Because that's a way... Again, that's like... I understand this. Like, eat... The more you eat, the more you're showing that person that you love them. If you barely eat the food, that's insulting. So Little Nueng's like, you love me, you love it, eat it. Show me how much you love me. That's kind of what she's saying.
I think at one point she does say, you must have loved it because you ate so much or ate all of it.
She's like, you have to eat all of it. Like, she's like encouraging her to keep eating, I think is what the end of the conversation was. They're just making small talk while Big Nueng is eating, basically, is what they're doing. It's very cute. They're flirting over food. All right. So then we get to one of my favorite scenes. This scene is cute. So later that night, I assume, Little Nueng is in Big Nueng's room because she cleared up the relationship. She's like, that other room, I'm never sleeping in there again. I'm officially moving into your room. This is our room now. Big Nueng's like, whatever. She doesn't care. So, which means she loves it. So Big Nueng's painting. Okay. And Little Nueng emerges from Big Nueng's bathroom and has the audacity to ask why she hasn't showered. And it's like, girl, you were in the shower. Was that code? Was that code for why didn't you join me in the shower? knowing
I was gonna bring that
probably.
up, but I'm like, there has to be another shower in the palace, but...
Did she be like, this is my bathroom now. I've moved into your room. This is mine now. Like, find another bathroom. Like, yeah, what was big? Of course not, girl. You were in the bathroom. I think that was a like, can you join me? I think that's what she was getting at. I'd like to think. But what is she really asking when she's like, why haven't you? Why is she's really disappointed and like whiny when she gets out of the shower. She's like, can you go do that now? And like, why is she pestering her about this? I think what she's saying is like, why haven't you gotten ready for bed? Because getting ready for bed means sex. I think that's what she's saying. Because I will say in the books, Little Nueng is extremely thirsty for Big Nueng, like so thirsty, which is relatable because Big Nueng. But the show really tones down this aspect of Little Nueng's character, and the show writers hint at it in these like subtle ways. Like this scene here, there's a couple more in the show that I'll point out, but I think this is trying to hint at Little Nueng's thirstiness when it comes to sex with Big Nueng, because it's wild in the book how thirsty she is. Okay, so I just had to point that out. But also the ridiculousness of being like, why didn't you shower? And it's like, you were in the shower. You didn't see her in there. Why are you confused? Okay, so then Little Nueng cuts over the conversation into Big Nueng's birthday, because Big Nueng's birthday is now coming up. So she's like, well, you're obviously going to have a party. Like, what are your plans for your birthday is what she, like, asks her. And Big Nueng's like, why are you asking me this? Did you, girlfriend who's not a girlfriend, want to organize a party for me? Which I think is Big Nueng snitching on herself because, like, she wants Little Nueng to, do her birthday party. But also karma, because she basically is the one that concocted Little Nueng's disaster 21st birthday party. So it's like, do you really want this? Play this game, Big Nueng? But sidebar, if Little Nueng did organize this birthday party for Big Nueng, what would she have done? Fanfiction time. If you don't want fanfiction, just go ahead like 10 minutes. Let's be real. Wouldn't be here, but what did you think, Kaitlynn?
I think we did this in the last episode.
No, we basically said if Sam and Little Nueng teamed up in the future to plan a birthday, what would they do? But like this birthday. Here. So Sam and Little Nueng are not bros yet. Okay. It's like, what would Little Nueng have done here?
Okay, so I think they could all go to a place like Painting with a Twist, which is a place where you go and everyone paints the same thing while drinking wine. And there is a demonstration in the beginning showing everyone how to achieve the finished painting. And I could totally see Big Nueng taking over and being like, no, you should do it like this. And then she shows everyone else how to do it as she downs another glass of wine. And then...
So Big Nueng's the drunk one? That's interesting.
Hold on. Mon drops Little Nueng and Big Nueng off at the palace because she is the only sober one. And
so they all went? Okay.
Yeah, they all went. Because really, Big Nueng wants to spend it with the emotional support lesbians as well. Like, that's her core group.
Oh, yeah.
So that's all family. She would want. So yeah, it's the four of them. They rented out the whole place.
Yes, that makes sense. There shouldn't be other people there. Nueng would never agree to that, yeah.
Yeah. So Mon drops them off, and Little Nueng is drunkenly saying, I have a present for you. Big Nueng asks, what is it? Little Nueng gets real close to her ear and whispers, me. And they don't make it past the entrance before they have sex, and they are too drunk to care that they're in the middle of the entrance. Okay?
Oh my god. This is
Hold on. I'm not done yet.
I know.
All right? Of course, Auntie Nim catches them, but quickly leaves because I should not be here for this. And she puts herself in charge of keeping guard for them. And she is definitely thinking, these bitches. She also hears unthinkable things that she will spend the rest of her life trying to forget. And that is...
For Auntie Nim's birthday, the Nuengs owe her therapy. Like, they owe the palace staff therapy. They just scarred everyone. I think that's possible. I guess at this point, like, Little Nueng doesn't really have like unlimited access to money. I'm sure she has like some allowance or something, but like she's still in school, so it'd have to be something low key like that, where unless she roped Sam in and was like, Sam, you're a credit card.
I feel like, well, because they already met at this point, so yeah, I think she's definitely resourceful. Like we saw her come with
for sure
hook with Auntie Nim, so she would definitely like show up at Sam's house.
Yeah, 100%. So, like, I think it would be something low-key like that. Or, like, I think what Little Nueng really wanted to do, because, like, again, she just wants Big Nueng all to herself, and that's honestly what Big Nueng wants. That's why Big Nueng is saying this in the scene. She's like, what did you get me? Because she just wants to spend it with Little Nueng, really. And, like, part of it with her sister. So, I think that, like, they would do something like this, where they would do, like, dinner or something with Mon, and then I think Little Nueng would probably try to take her to the beach house that they end up later, so they can, like, recreate their first night they spent away together. And I think Big Nueng would like the sentiment of that, because she's fucking sentimental. She is. She pretends not to be, but she super is. So I think she would like a romantic beach getaway with Little Nueng, where they can actually be together instead of like fighting their Big Nueng fighting her feelings while Little Nueng is like, can you just accept my feelings? So I think that would also be a good one. And like Big Nueng, it would cost Little Nueng nothing, because Big Nueng already has the place. Big Nueng would drive them, like.
Okay, well, if you want to be realistic about it.
No, I mean, I like yours too. I think both are plausible for where we're at right now. And we can all agree that, like, there would be a Sam and Mon PG-13 component, and then there would be an R-rated component of the two of them doing whatever and scarring people. They can scar the birds.
Well, we see that in this episode, so.
Absolutely. No, like, that's where this is headed. No, that's literally all they both wanted, so it's totally fine. It makes sense. Anyway, so Big Nueng's like, okay, why are you asking me? Like, do you want to like organize? Because like it's such a girlfriend thing. Like, I'll take care of your birthday, or what do you want, kind of thing. But their domestic cuteness in this scene is too much. Like, this scene should come with Lyme warnings, because the way they are so cute, just alone in this scene together, is obnoxious. Like, I need to eat a whole lime for, like, just this 3 seconds of them being together. Because, like, Big Nueng will not let it go. Like, she will not let the birthday thing go. Little Nueng brought it up, but Big Nueng will not let it go. Because she's, like, getting all in her space and, like, doing all these, like, cute little, like, chaste things where she's like, are you going to surprise me? What are you going to do? And, like, from the jump, Big Nueng is obsessed with whatever Little Nueng is gifting her for her birthday. Obsessed. Like, will not let it go. And so Little Nueng's like, no, seriously, like, tell me what do you want? What do you plan on doing? And Big Nueng's like, I think she's somebody who doesn't, like, obviously want an over the top anything. She's kind of a hermit. She wants things quiet, that are meaningful and low key. She probably doesn't like making a big deal of herself and things like that. She just kind of wants to, like, the quality time. It's all about the quality time. So she says, like, I think I'm just going to invite, like, my sister and Mom to, like, come here and eat dinner. Like, just spend time together, right? Because this is 100% something Big Nueng would want as a birthday celebration. Like, food, family, that's kind of, like, the things that she loves, right? Little Nueng, of course, has to use the opportunity to tease Big Nueng. She's like, oh, you mean you weren't going to use your birthday as an excuse to hang out with your not-so-secret admirers, my dad and the hot doctor? Again, Juan Viva. Why must we keep calling her the hot doctor? Like, Little Nueng.
Well, it used to be Pretty Doctor.
Yeah.
Or does she say Pretty Doctor in YouTube?
She says Pretty Doctor.
Way. Yeah.
Either way, she does not say Juan Viva ever. She's always like, the beautiful doctor, the pretty doctor. Well, no. You can call her Juan Viva. It's fine.
Or is there something going on in your mind?
That's what I mean. I'm like, are you into Juan Viva? Like, I don't know. Anyway. Like, because she keeps doing it. Or is it to just, like, word choice to, like, your jealousy is showing? Because Chet is just Chet, and then it's the hot doc. Like, okay, we get it. Women are the threat. I do get that. I wonder if that's the emphasis. But she just keeps doing it. I just find it really funny every time she does it. Big Nueng also finds it funny because she plays along and decides to, like, tease Little Nueng. And she's like, oh, you're right. I forgot. I'll call them right now. Like, and the way Little Nueng panics and she, like, rips the cell phone out of Big Nueng's hand. She's like hell you won't. And runs away. It's just so funny. And I love that Big Nong, like, again, like, playfully, like, chases her and, like, tackles her onto the couch. Like, this was hilarious. Whoever thought of this scene. It's so funny. And so them.
It's just really sweet to see them be carefree with each other. And, like, these moments are like, yeah, even though all this other shit's going on, they can still be cute and free in their own space. I mean, yes, it'd be nice if all these other things weren't a thing, but that's life. So it's nice to get these moments. Also, the soft, slow version of the theme song plays.
Yes. Yes, because this is a big moment. This is a big moment. Well, this is a big moment for Little Nun. Just wait. Yeah. I do appreciate about them. The actors are like this too with each other. They're just, I like that the show gives us time to just have them be playful with each other. They're just being playful. Like, and it's like teasing and playful, and it's fun. It doesn't have to just be like serious and then super like carnal at all times. They have the in-between moments that like are often omitted, usually for like time or like whatever. But they just let them have these little playful moments with each other that like fleshes out their relationship as like the healthy relationship.
And makes you care about them.
Yeah, no, exactly. It invests the audience, and then it shows you like they're just like little soft moments of them just being them around each other, and like they have a great relationship. Okay, all right. So where are we? We have to get to this. This is one of my favorite moments of the show. So Big Nong basically like tackles Little Nong onto like the little couch in front of the bed. So she's hovering over Little, and has her kind of like trapped with her body. Little Nong's into it, so don't feel bad for her. Then Big Nong does the sexiest thing of all time and basically tells Little Nong the reason she hasn't called either Chet or the hot doctor is because she doesn't dare displease Little Nong. Like, hydrate for that line, because, like, oh my god. Little Nong. Darling, there's a literal goddess hovering over you saying this. Ask her to marry you right now. Like, right now. Like, what the hell was this line, Big Nong? Like, oh my god. Like, ask her right now, Little Nong.
Or now would be a good time to ask to move in again.
No, go straight to marriage. Like, just be like, you need to marry me right now. Like, what was this line? Okay, but again, Big Nong obsessed with whatever the hell Little Nong has planned for her birthday, because Big Nong has probably never had a significant other and a birth like that she cared about and a birthday. So this is all brand new, and she's like, this is very exciting. So she pivots back to the surprise, and she's like doing all this stuff when she's just like nuzzling Little Nong's face, and she's like, tell me what the surprise is. Like, tell me. And Little Nong is losing her shit in the best way possible because, wow, the audience needs at least a whole lime tree for this fucking scene. Because, like, this was, like, one of their sweetest moments ever. And it's just, like, but, like, the lime tree comes in the form of a phone call from Chet that completely interrupts this magical moment we're having. Because that's Chet's real purpose in this show, is to ruin everything.
That is,
he's a lime. He's a lime in human form. He just takes away. He's a lime tree. He takes away all the sweetness. A grove. It's a grove.
A grove.
Yeah, he's the actual worst. And like, fucking Chet. This was so cute. I wanted this to keep going, and then fucking Chet comes in and throws lime juice on the scene like a bitch. So. Unfortunately, I guess he was calling now, because remember, he can't just show up at the palace anymore.
He has to make an appointment.
He has to make an appointment. So, of course, naturally, he calls at night when everybody's getting ready to go to bed to make the... Why can't you text her? Also, you could have called her earlier in the day during business hours, Chet. Nobody wants to talk to you after business hours.
He needs to call a receptionist.
Correct. Like, Auntie Nim should be screening these phone calls. Like, you know, like the palace should have a landline that he has to call and not her personal cell. This is insulting. He's calling her personal cell phone number for this. I'm just saying I'm offended on Little Nong's behalf because, wow, what a moment to interrupt, Chet. So anyway.
I'm offended on humanity's behalf.
Yes, that was homophobic of him. Which is on brand. So unfortunately, Chet joins the Nungs for breakfast the next day. And Big Nung decided to treat Chet and all of us to one of her best lesbian outfits, which is this like royal blue button down. And like she has these little like kid shoes on later, and it's just 100 out of 10 for this outfit. Thank you, Big Nung. So, but Chet apparently comes over to like try and get Big Nung on her birthday. What a plan this was. To come out to Hua Hin, the Isle of Lesbos, which is homophobic, to hang out with his parents. What was this plan? This was ridiculous. And you cannot convince me that Big Nung didn't choose one of these top tier lesbian outfits on purpose, knowing full well that this delusional man was coming over to visit and say some stupid shit like this. She's like, look at me. You're still going to ask me that question. Okay. You never get it, do you, Chet? But like, delusion aside of asking your ex-fiance who ran away from you at the altar to come to your parents'
who know
house,
you, who know her,
who were shamed by this, to come to hang out with you guys, you're gonna ask Big Nung to do this on her birthday. Like, what was this plan? This was insane. What he's doing is actually insane. Like,
and
is
it's
he
not
okay?
like he forgot about her birthday, because he even says that her birthday is coming up and she should celebrate it at the beach. Like, yeah, that is definitely what she wants to do for her birthday. Be around the dude using her, the in-laws that almost were, and be apart from her emotional support lesbians. That sounds awful, and it shows once again that he has never cared about anyone. Well, about her.
Correct. Definitely not about her. But also, like, question mark too, did he tell his parents about this? Because like, the way she keeps poking at the parents question, he doesn't quite answer this. I don't know that he told them. I think he was just going to bring her. And then, like, again, like, to your point, does he care enough to warn his parents? Because, like, that had to have been an insulting thing for their family to be like, we were going to marry into this royal family, but and then the bitch left my son at the altar, and that's public knowledge now. Like, that's kind of a shame against them. And then to, like, bring her out of the blue to their, like, family gathering, like, what was the pitch for this? Did he even tell them? Because Chet is an idiot, and, like, we all know that, and super selfish. So, like, I imagine he didn't tell them. He was just going to be like, surprise, Nung's here. Remember her?
Because that's what he does.
That's what he does. No, that's what I mean. So, like, this would have been terrible for everybody. All right. But Little Nung's here. And did he know Little Nung was going to be here? Who the fuck knows? So then he goes back to telling Big Nung that he wants to take Little Nung. So he pivots. He's like, okay, forget about you for a minute. I want to take Little Nung. I'm really here. This is bullshit. I'm really here because I want to take my daughter to meet her grandparents. And it's like, she's at the freaking table. You could just ask Little Nung. I'd be like, hey, Little Nung, do you want to come to this barbecue getaway at the Isle of Lesbos? Yes? No? To meet your grandparents that you keep not wanting to meet? But then he continues, only addressing Big Nung, and he's like, listen, I know that Little Nung is not going to go if you don't go, which is why I'm inviting you. And I mean, true, because it's Big Nung's birthday, and Little Nung wants to be with her girlfriend on her birthday, which he doesn't know, because he can't read the lesbian getup in the room. So he's like, I don't understand. I'm very proud for Little Nung in this scene for sticking up for herself and telling Chet, I don't want to go. You're not going to address me, but I don't want to go. Like, it has nothing to do with Big Nung. Personally, I don't want to go.
But Little Nung really needs to stop using I don't know anyone as an excuse.
I agree.
Because that is the whole point of going.
Correct. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I understand that. She's like, basically, you're going to trap me in a house full of strangers, including you, Chet, for 3 days and cut me off from my emotional support lesbian. And, like, that makes me uncomfortable. But it's like, you got to start somewhere to get to know them. And that's what the point of this was, like you're saying. So, like, not the best. It's true. Like, it is true. I think she feels uncomfortable with quote, strangers. But, like, this is designed to get you to meet them. So you're not strangers. So that falls flat. But Big Nung is like, listen, I'm not going. You should go with your family. If I go, it's not going to be fun, because then, like, it's going to be like Ice Ice Baby in there, where they're going to be like, whew, your family wants to kill me with that, like, knife on the table, like, because I ruined everything, and, like, you're an idiot who can't read the room, Little Nung's miserable. It would have been a disaster to bring Big Nung to this.
He is the one singing Exile. Like, there is no sides.
No. Okay. But I have to point out, I don't remember if I have this somewhere later in the notes. I want to point out now that, like, this goes down differently in the book in such a funny way. So basically what happens in the book is that Chet does take Little Nung. Like, this conversation doesn't happen. I think the writers were a lot more conscious of, like, the relationship with the Nungs and, like, fleshing it out than the author of the book in, like, these, like, mundane, show you how protective they are of each other kind of way. Because in the book, Little Nung and goes to Hua Hin with Chet. And then Big Nung just misses Little Nung so much that she calls Chet, gets him to buy her a plane ticket. Then she shows up unannounced at the beach resort, goes directly to Little Nung's room, says nothing to anybody. And then thirsty Little Nung is waiting for her. And they have their thing going on. And then the next morning, they are showering together. Big Nung gets out of the shower, and it's like Chet starts knocking. They're in the shower, about to get it on in the shower. She comes out, and then Chet's at the door, and he's like, can you, like, say hi to my parents now? And she's like, sure, I'll be there in a minute. And then Little Nung comes out of the shower, all wet, and then he starts putting it together, because Big Nung's like, shit, I can't explain why we're both soaking wet, because she told him I was taking a shower, like, and then Little Nung comes out of the shower. That's how they get outed. But in the book, it's because Big Nung was a thirsty bitch on her birthday and was like, no, I want to see her. And so she invites herself to this thing, which is so funny.
I kind of wish that was how he found out.
Honestly,
because that would be hilarious.
It was hilarious in the book. Because you get in Big Nung's inner monologue when she's like, oh shit, I can't explain this. She's just like, this looks bad. It was so funny. It's a really funny moment.
I would have actually liked that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be there. Like, they could still be, like, respectful of all that, but have it be at the palace or something somehow. But I don't understand how.
I mean, he does catch them kissing on the couch, and I guess that's the PG equivalent of them showering together. But it was just really funny the way how she gets there was just she invites herself, makes him pay for it. And then, like, so she can see Little Nung. That was the only reason
didn't she have money at that point?
Yeah. But she made him pay for it. She was just like, no, Chet, you're going to pay for my date with your daughter. Like, it was so funny. And Little Nung was immediately thirsty, and it was just a hot mess. Like, it's just what a hot mess. The way they get caught by Chet is so funny. But, like, so I like the writing choice here because Chet is still trying to court her, and they're, like, making that more obvious here. And he's, again, using Little Nung as an excuse to get Big Nung, and Big Nung as an excuse to get Little Nung. So it's, like, it's weaving a more complicated web with the family situation that, like, they're both determined to resolve in this episode. So it makes more sense to, like, change that and, like, kind of present it this way. Because, like I mentioned, like, many times, Big Nung is on a journey to learn how to, like, balance selfish desires. Like, I've explained that a million times. Selfish desires versus selfless. And, like, this is kind of one of those decision points, right? Because what Chet is basically pleading with her is like, hey, I love my daughter. I want to get to know her. I have this family thing already planned. I want her to go. It's just going to be me and my parents. So small family gathering where she can meet them and be more comfortable. And, like, I want her to be a part of our family. I want her to get to know them. So this is a perfect opportunity for that. And like you said, they're kind of running out of excuses for Little Nung not to, like, start bonding with them, other than, like, Little Nung just doesn't want to. And that should be an acceptable boundary, but apparently it's not, which, fine, whatever. But Big Nung, you know, from her trauma is like, Little Nung should have the opportunity, at least, to bond with them because family is important. She learned that lesson the hard way, right? So here's the dilemma she's in. And this is all happening on her birthday, but you just saw the previous scene, how excited she was about Little Nung celebrating her birthday, like, obsessed with this concept, okay? So, like, clearly the selfish desire is she wants Little Nung all to herself for her birthday, right? That's all she cares about. Go back to the Lime Grove scene. That's what she wants, okay? And she was being very truthful about that when she was alone with Little Nung. Like, that is really what she wants. But now here's Chet. And her guard's up around him, obviously. And she almost gets away with the selfish thing because she tries to evade answering him. And she's like, Little Nung, we gotta go. You're gonna be late for school. And he's like, no. Listen, like, I want to be a part of my daughter's life. That's what I'm asking. And she brings it back to the family thing, not just this is what I want. He's like, it's a family thing. And that's when Big Nung pauses, because this is Chet saying, I want to take your advice, Big Nung, and get to know who my daughter is. And the thing about Big Nung is she will put Little Nung's well-being first, no matter what that means. The same way that Little Nung is willing to do that for Big Nung, which is why I love them. And if you watch, she really takes a minute to process this. And at the end, she deflates. Like, she knows she has to give up her birthday with Little Nung, the selfish thing she wants, because in the long run, the selfless thing is to let Little Nung go on this particular day and, like, bond with her family, because in the long run, that's a support system for her, something Little Nung really doesn't have with her existing family. She just has the grandmother, and that's a big, complicated relationship. So she's like, here's this opportunity. Like, it would be very selfish of me to deny her this opportunity. It's a good opportunity, right?
Yeah. I really don't like Chet. I mean, we say this a bunch of times.
It's the truth. We can't help but speaking truths on this podcast. Chet is the worst.
Okay. Yeah. I just don't, sorry. I don't understand Chet, because he could be telling Little Nung all of this. Tell your daughter you want to be in her life and actually ask what she wants that to look like. Because that's important. What does she want your relationship to look like? Because you're the one who left her life before she was born. But he has no brain cells.
Yeah. I think I can explain it through, like, custom, whereas, like, Big Nung's the adult, so it's a hierarchy thing, the way he talks. But it is obnoxious, to your point, for this dude who's a stranger, who's trying to get, like, be a big part, an influential part of Little Nung's life, and he doesn't directly talk to her. And it's like, how do you expect this to really go down, Chet? Like, who's giving him advice? Nobody. What internet Google searches are you doing, if any? Like, this was the way he goes about it is very, like, ineffective and dumb. Because there he is.
That's just him. Ineffective and dumb.
I know. That's why these scenes are so annoying. I'm like, bro, you keep doing the same. It's like the definition of insanity. You keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Like, you show up in this time and you expect Little Nung to be, like, excited about this. Like, come on now. Anyway. Whatever. Fuck Chet for a minute. Okay, so I think, regardless of all that, I think if the situation was different, like, maybe this wasn't her birthday, this wasn't her ex-fiance, maybe Big Nung would want to go to Chet's vacation if it meant Little Nung would go and bond with her family. But I think one of the main reasons she turns this down is because, like, the issue is that if she goes, which she brought up, if she goes, Chet's family is going to fixate on her, not Little Nung. They're going to fixate on the woman that, like, shamed their family, not the granddaughter they're trying to get to know. No. So I think she's worried about that aspect of, like, her going with Little Nung. Because I think if you remove that element, Big Nung would definitely sacrifice her birthday for Little Nung to, like, she would go with her. But, like, she's like, your family's gonna be pissed off I'm there, and then this was a moot point to get Little Nung to bond with, because, like, Chet obviously has ulterior motives by the time you get to the end of the episode why he's trying to bring Big Nung out there. But she's like, if you're really trying to get to know Little Nung, this is a stupid way to do it, because I'm gonna be the focus, not her. You know what I mean? So again, Chet's an
He just
idiot.
doesn't think.
No, he doesn't think. But, like, the thing is, like, Big Nung is the overthinker, so she thinks through all of these things. She's like, this is a terrible idea. Like, great on the surface, terrible idea in practice, because what is this? Anyway, so we don't get the hilarious version of this in the book. If anything for the book, just go read this. This Houahin stuff was really funny. Go read that. Anyway. Instead, in the show, we get an awkward barbecue and karaoke at Chet's family beach house without Big Nueng. And Little Nueng in the scene is sitting at, like, the head of the table because she's the guest of honor for this family gathering. And ironically, they did this to include her in the family, but I think it makes her feel like more of an outsider in a way because she's kind of separated from people, like physically a little bit. There's a little bit more distance between her and then Chet's parents and Chet because they're kind of closer physically together. And the whole time, like, the parents are, like, super happy, very proud of Chet. Every time Chet does anything, they're like, good job, Chet, you did such a good job. Like, clearly, like, they love their son and they're very proud of him, which is sweet. So they don't, on the surface, seem like a super toxic family or anything, you know, which is good.
Yeah, but something I noticed is that his mom tells him to order everything that Little Nueng likes. But does he even know what she likes? Like, I still don't think they have had a conversation.
Right, like a conversation.
Like, the only way that he would know this is because he keeps trying to take her out to meals to win her over. But that still is not knowing what she wants. But
no.
Anyway, I do find it really cute how excited his mom is to have a granddaughter.
Yeah, it is cute.
And I do feel like if things were different, if they were always around, I think Little Nueng would bond with her because she's someone who's actually excited to have a granddaughter. Like, she needs that in her life. And unfortunately, we have Chet, who is in the intermediate part of this relationship, and that doesn't end well.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Like, I hope, like, later when the dust settles and everything's cleared up and, like, the Nuengs are dating, that Little Nueng would feel, because I think she needs a Big Nueng. She needs her safe space to come with her because this makes her uncomfortable. Like, she's said it multiple times. I hate meeting people. It makes her uncomfortable. So I think if she had Big Nueng here, I think she would be more likely to bond with them if they would get over the Big Nueng stuff. I don't know that they ever would, but, like, I would like to think they get to a place where everybody's over it and then Little Nueng can actually form a relationship with them.
I feel like this grandmother would be the quickest to accept this relationship.
Yeah, the dad.
Out of everybody.
The dad would be pissed forever at Nueng. As will Chet. The men would always hate Nueng. I mean,
the grandmother would just want a relationship with her and just be like, in the back of her mind, like, understand that she was just not in love with Chet, but she can see how much she loves her granddaughter and all she wants is the best for the granddaughter. I'm getting all this out of, like, 3 sentences from her, but just someone's actually excited to see Little Nueng for once, and I just love it.
I know. Instead of her being ignored. Anyway, all right. So during this, like, Chet is being the good son by hosting the whole event. Like, he's cooking, he's feeding everybody, he takes pictures, he puts on the karaoke machine for his mom. Like, it's clear that they've done this before, and, like, Chet is good at fitting into the role of, like, head of household, because that's what he's doing. The head of household, he's being the host, he's making sure everybody's taken care of, like, he's doing the things. Like, so when he comes in there and says, Little Nueng, I want to be your dad, like, he's kind of showing in the scene, like, he's capable of doing those things. Like, he definitely is capable of adopting the role. He's doing it right now with his family. But as we've mentioned a million times, he's fumbling going about this the right, like, actually forming a relationship with her, which is another story. During the scene, the grandparents try to, like you said, they see, like, the grandmother seems very excited about Little Nueng. The other thing that they do to show their love for Little Nueng and, like, their willingness to accept her into the family is they keep trying to give her food. Because this is like a cultural thing. This is like an Italian thing. It's like, keep eating. Like, Chet's like, I gave you 2. She's like, make sure you give her the biggest piece. Like, they're trying to show her that they actually care about her and that they have affection towards her. And Chet also does it, which is really sweet. So, like, they're trying to show, like, familial love, basically, here. Like, so I understand what they're trying to do in this scene. They're doing their way of doting on Little Nueng in this scene. And they're like, make sure you eat a lot, get the biggest piece, that kind of stuff. But poor Little Nueng looks... Do you need a second, Kaitlynn?
Just keep going.
Okay. Poor Little Nueng looks miserable because she's forced to be with strangers on her girlfriend's birthday. Like, their first birthday together, which she points out later. And also, this whole interaction, I think, from her point of view, feels forced. Like, this whole interaction with the Chet's family, and it's, like, not a genuine getting to know her thing. Because, to me, this scene reads, the way Chet behaves, everything, it's like, this is what their family does, right? And they're just going about doing their family thing, and Little Nung's just, like, there? Versus, like, and they include her with the food, but they're not super including her. They're just, like, doting on Chet, and, like, they're doing their thing. And Little Nung still reads as, like, an outsider, kind of, like, in the scene. So, like, I think that's how she feels in the scene.
I think maybe the grandmother's, like, trying to make everything seem normal. Like, she is, like, she's been here forever.
Right.
But in the way she's not really getting to know her or
Correct.
including her
Right.
by making this be normal. And I feel like that's a common thing that people do. Like, make things normal, but do the exact opposite of what needs to be done.
Yeah. Because, like, nobody knows her is the problem. That's, like, the bottom line of all of this, you know. Anyway. So, Little Nung is out of it, and she doesn't want to be here. So she thinks of Big Nung. She mentally goes to her safe space. And we get this flashback from earlier I don't know if it's earlier in the day or, like, the morning when Big Nung was wearing the lesbian getup. We go back to that. And they're in this, like, gazebo-looking place. And first of all, this location is so romantic. They should have had more scenes here. It's actually a crime they didn't have more scenes in this gazebo. Because, like, everything about this is very romantic and beautiful.
Is this a gazebo? Because it reminds me of that scene in Gap where they have that conversation at the window when Mon's about to leave.
I have no idea. It just looks like a circular little room. Like, the shape looks like a gazebo. I don't know what this is. But it's whatever it is. It's super romantic. I wish they had more scenes here. And in the scene, basically Big Nung and Little Nung are having a private conversation about Chet's proposal to take Little Nung to Hua Hin and have this whole beach house family barbecue or whatever. And Big Nung is encouraging Little Nung to, like, do it. Because she, of course, in her decision-making, chose the selfless route. She's like, this is a good opportunity. You should go do this. So she's like, give your father a chance. And she's trying to encourage Little Nung to spend time with her family and not her. Because she's like, listen, we've had this conversation. We both want the families to accept this. You want that too. Like, this is a good start. You know, this is the olive branch. Like, take the olive branch. Yeah. So I think, and like I mentioned earlier, Big Nung obviously wants Little Nung for herself for her birthday, but I think because Big Nung is she thinks about their relationship as a forever thing. Like, she doesn't admit it out loud, but she does in her brain. I think she's kind of like, well, we'll spend the next year together. Like, it's fine. Like, if we miss this one, like, it's not a big deal. When you're in a long-term relationship, like I am, you're just like, it's one day, it's not a big deal. I see you every day. Like, it's really not a big deal. You just do it another time, or there's always next year. Like, it's not the end of the world. But also, I'm pretty sure she's the type of person that values making her partner's birthday special versus fixating on her own. She's like, we'll celebrate your birthday. It's fine. But, you know, clearly she was super excited to have a girlfriend on her birthday, but, you know, it's Big Nung. And ironically, I think Little Nung shares this mentality with Big Nung of, like, I'd rather make my partner's birthday special than mine, which is why she's so upset that Big Nung is, quote, actively pushing her away on her special day. I think that's why she's so upset, because they should have that in common. Because she voices to Big Nung, like, it's not the Chet thing, it's your birthday, and I can't just be like, it's Big Nung's birthday, I don't want to be with you on Big Nung's birthday, because, like...
Could you imagine if she did say that to him, though?
You know, listen, how would this go down? Because lesbian getup, Little Nung getting upset, saying that out loud, Chet would be like, well, that's why I'm inviting her. He would not get any of the overt jealousy. No, he would be like, well, she can come with us. That's why I'm inviting her. The lesbianism goes over his head every time. All right, so Big Nung tries to reason with Little Nung that he's like, look, your father loves you, and he's trying to make things right, but Little Nung protests, I love you more, so you're more important to me than my family, is what she's kind of saying here. And since Big Nung can't argue with this, nor would she want to, because, like, nobody should be putting Chet first. She didn't. She does something she knows Little Nung can't resist, to win this argument. So she leans forward into Little Nung's space, which catches Little Nung off guard. And Little Nung's like, are you going to kiss me? Because we're out in the open. Like, what are you doing? But Big Nung weaponizes her cuteness in the scene, and she uses the cute voice to win the argument. And she's like, come on, please do it. Please do it. And Little Nung is like, God damn it, Big Nung. Like, you know I can't resist you when you're doing this shit. Like, you're such a cheater. Because Big Nung she weaponizes her cuteness and her sexuality to win arguments quite often, which is not great, but, you know, it works. And, okay, I'm pretty sure this is not what Chet meant when he asked Big Nung to convince Little Nung to come to the family outing thing. It's like, Big Nung's like, please, cutie, will you just do this for me? Like, this is not what Chet wanted. But
anything she does to convince Big Nung to do something is not what he expected. Because this happens multiple times throughout the show.
Yes, exactly. So, all right, when the cute voice doesn't 100% work, it's warming up Little Nung because Big Nung knows Little Nung can't resist it. Big Nung takes things a step further, and she's like, how about if we'll make a deal, okay? And this is a tit for twat situation. She's like, how about you go to this thing, and when you come back, I will spoil you and give you everything you want. And Little Nung's like, everything I want? Really? And Big Nung's like, yes. And then Big Nung initiates the pinky promise to give Little Nung everything she wants. And Little Nung takes that pinky promise. That is legally binding now, ma'am. That is legally binding.
It is.
It is.
And she definitely means everything.
That is exactly what they were talking about in this scene. Because this is another scene where we're showing Little Nung's thirstiness, but we're toning it down from the book. That is what this conversation is actually about. That's what she means. She's like, really? Everything? Yeah, that's what they're talking about. Because she reiterates again after the pinky promise, like, you have to let me do everything I want. Not give me everything. Let me do everything I want. Yes, that is what they were talking about sex. So this conversation mirrors their conversation in 106 when Little Nung says in the bedroom, I'll do everything you want. This is Little Nung being like, you're going to do everything I want. Yeah, because she's super thirsty. And yeah, this is a toned down version of that. But despite the sexy promise they just made, Little Nung doesn't want to go. Like, she really doesn't at the end of the day. Like, you can see her kind of like deflate. Like, she's excited about whatever Big Nung just promised her. But she's like, I really don't want to go. And so Big Nung, like, kindly begs her. Like, she's like, please just do it. It's ultimately for the best in the long run for you and us. And, like, it's just one day. Like, we're going to see each other again. Like, this is a partner with long-term thinking who's like, you know, it's just one day. But as we come to learn, these two are very codependent. So one day apart is a lot more than they can handle, actually. And I think they learned this the hard way in this episode. Then this conversation pivots in a way I wasn't expecting when I first watched this. Because without saying anything, Big Nung goes into her shirt pocket and pulls out a keychain and hands it to Little Nung. And it's really cute. It's like, it's got a big, like, N for, like, her nickname, and then, like, this little, like, dangly, gemmed out thing. And it's very Little Nung. It's in her style. And so she got her a keychain for her phone, and it implies that for her birthday, Big Nung decided to give Little Nung a present. That's how bad she has it. I'm like, Big Nung, it's your birthday, and you're giving your girlfriend a gift. Like, I love that so much. For some
reason, I thought this was a key to the palace. But I guess there's always someone to let you in.
Yeah,
so that wouldn't make sense. I don't think
anybody has keys, yeah. I think they just kind of like walk. I wonder if this is like a locked compound, like in the royal pen, where like to get onto this, you have to like get through guards probably. And so I imagine they just walk into this place. But yeah. It's a metaphorical key to the palace because there's no keys. So I love that she gets Little Nung a gift on her birthday, which I love. And then can we appreciate a little thirsty Little Nung and how Little Nung deliberately grabs this keychain in such a way that she has to touch as much of Big Nung's hand as humanly possible. Like, she could have just grabbed it. Like, no, she has to like twist her hand inside of Big Nung's hand. So they're touching as much as possible when she's doing this. Good job, Little Nung. And then we end this scene with just like little Nueng so excited, like the grin on her face. Cause like Big Nueng just keeps, there was no occasion for this. She just got her a gift. Just because Big Nueng's like, you don't have a keychain. That's a thing that young people do. I should get you one, right? It's a thing that young women do. So let me get you one.
Kids that's what the kids are doing these days.
That's what the kids are doing these days. Yeah. So she gets her. Sorry, my dog is laying on her back. It's really funny. Anyway, so she gets her. Same thing with the bracelet. She's like, you don't have a bracelet. You wear other jewelry. Let me get you a bracelet. Little Nueng has probably never taken that thing off. Then she gets her this other thing she doesn't have in her style, and just like it's extremely thoughtful, and it just because she gets her the gift. Like, she didn't know Chet was going to come here and be a bitch. She had this ready to go. Like, she was going to pull the thing where they go to school and she gives her the gift. Yeah, I just love that about Big Nueng. And then, like, Little Nueng is just very appreciative and clearly over the moon about this, and just, like, leans on Big Nueng and, like, is just melting. And then we get this wide shot of them in this beautiful location, and, like, I love it. And, like, what a cute flashback to, like, have and then fixate on during this awkward as fuck dinner thing. Well, that's why it's there. The flashback is there to contrast with the horribleness Little Nueng is feeling at this family gathering. So we cut back to the family gathering, and Little Nueng is clearly, again, thinking about the good times and just trying to be like, okay, that's why I'm here. I have the promise of doing everything I want to Big Nueng. So, like, let me think about that to get me through this. And then Chet's like, let's remember this moment. And poor Little Nueng, who doesn't want to remember any of this. And he tries to, like, pull them in, kind of, to do a selfie photo. And, like, the way he takes this photo, there's no way everybody's in the frame. Like, there's
no, the grandparents are definitely not in the photo.
No, I think it's just him and Little Nueng.
And the grandparents don't know any better, so...
No. And Little Nueng looks miserable in the photo. Like, when he gets ready to take it, she does her absolute best to, like, have some kind of facial expression that resembles a smile. But since we, the audience, know what a smile looks like from Little Nueng, because to go back to the previous scene with the keychain gift, this is not a smile. Like, she's just flat out miserable. Like, and I hate that, like, Chet checks the photo and is like, this looks cute. It looks great. And it's like, are you looking at her face? Bro, like, nobody has eyes in the scene, I guess.
I don't think he's ever seen a true Little Nueng smile, though. Because, you know...
It's true. It's true.
He wouldn't do it if he's around.
No, I agree. He has no idea. He's just clueless. Let's shoot over to part 4 of the episode. So Little Nueng, who is now officially a member of the ML family, is sulking by the pool. Because we sulk by water. That's what she's learned.
Yes.
So.
Preferably either ocean, but a pool is a good second.
Yeah, exactly. So either she learned this from Big Nueng's family, or she just had this in common with Big Nueng. Either way, here we are. And Chet approaches carrying a tiny box. And then he sits down next to her, that's the only... Little Nueng is so out of it. She doesn't even notice him until he's next to her. And she's like, oh, no, not thumbs up, webcam. That's a thumbs down scene. She's like, oh, damn, you're here. And he hands her the box, and he's like, I bought this for you. There's no greeting. There's no, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. It's just, here, I spent money on you. Like,
no, but like, if he truly cared about her, you can obviously see that she is not okay.
Yes, eyeballs would help in this scene. Empathy would help in this scene, but here we are with him. So let's compare the gift-giving scenes, right? Because this is a gift-giving scene with Chet. So what's Little Nueng's reaction to learning she has a surprise gift from her dad, her estranged father? Unease, a forced smile, an emotionless thank you. Meanwhile, like, what was her reaction to Big Nueng? It was... She melted on the spot and just, like, leaned on Big Nueng, was super happy when she got a surprise gift out of nowhere that she actually liked. But here's Chet. Chet is an excited puppy waiting in anticipation for her reaction. And if you, like, looked at her face for the reaction, you'd see that she's not happy, but, you know, okay.
Yeah, no, she clearly does not like the present.
No, but to be fair, he is looking at her instead of, like, actively ignoring her in this scene. So, to me, like, this is, like... dominant behavior coming from him in the sense that, like, he's trying to, like, control this interaction in a way. Because he's trying to be, like, the patriarch, right? And, like, oh no, I'm sorry. I read my note wrong. He's waiting for her reaction. And what does Little Nung do? Little Nung looks directly at him and basically is like, I don't want this. Versus like when she got the gift from Big Nung, she was so bashful she could barely look at Big Nung. So it's like she's just Little Nung is displaying dominant behavior towards Chet versus like more submissive behavior to husband Big Nung in that scene. So it like shows her headspaces in these scenes. Not that we needed any more indication that like she doesn't like Chet, but she's more like, I don't know, forceful with Chet versus like Big Nung. She's just like, okay, Big Nung, yeah, I love this. So yeah, what is her reaction to opening this gift from Chet? Awkwardness, rejection, which Chet doesn't super pick up on immediately.
No, he's just proud of himself.
I know. He's such an idiot. So she closes the box after one look and gives it back and is like, this is not my style. Because, like, again, he doesn't know her. He just bought her something. It's like a necklace. And she's like, no. And then she gets really stressed out. And I think she's on the verge of, like, a panic attack while she's, like, sitting here with him. And she's, like, trying to calm herself down. Like, Little Nung mentally escapes to her safe space. So a happy memory with Big Nung at Hua Hin, which was when they were at the beach together.
I hate it here, so I will go to Big Nung places in my mind.
Yeah, she does it twice.
But seriously, I have been where she is right now. I mean, like, not exactly where she is.
You didn't have Big Nung because
oh my god,
dream come true.
Seriously,
maybe I'll be that lucky.
You feel like you are trapped somewhere you don't want to be, and all you want to be is home, but you cannot leave. And so then it's just like panic. Like, I'm stuck. And then, at least for me, I just like full on. I'm like, I turn into a 2-year-old. Like, I don't want to be here. And it's just terrifying to be somewhere that you don't want to be.
Yeah, and she's like feeling kind of away from Big Nung, like rejected. Kind of rejected. She's like, she didn't want to be with me on her birthday. And I think she's mentally spiraling in a lot of ways because like she feels unsafe in her mind, like out of sorts. So like she's kind of spiraling. She's trying to like cling to happy moments as much as she possibly can to get herself through this. So her mind takes her to when they were at Hua Hin and when they were in the beach. And like one of my favorite scenes ever is when Little Nung dragged Big Nung out into the water and they were just playing. It was the first time they were ever playing with each other, just like having fun. And Big Nung smiled for like the first time. And like that was such a special moment because like Little Nung caused that interaction. She's the one that pulled them out. She's the one that made them have fun. And then she starts thinking about how the rest of that went. Like they had the date that wasn't a date but was totally a date, and like Big Nung let her cling to her arm in public and bought her food and wiped her lips because she can't eat ice cream and properly. And I think her thoughts are spiraling. And she's like, what the fuck am I doing here with these strangers when I could be with Big Nung making more happy memories? And I think the more Little Nung spirals, the darker her thoughts start getting. And I think she eventually ends up to a place of thinking like, well, why didn't Big Nung want to spend her birthday with me? Like, is she going to leave me? Is she trying to hurt me? I think she like ends up kind of going to a dark place. And like nothing at this house, these people, Chet, nothing here is going to like pull her out of it. It's only going to make it worse because like they don't know her. They make her uncomfortable to begin with. And now she's like more uncomfortable, if that makes sense.
Yeah. When they talk about her family, she's always talking about how they feel, how she wants her to have a relationship with them, but because she's so focused on them having a relationship, she doesn't want to put her feelings into it and make Little Nung just focus on her feeling, on Big Nung's feelings during it. She doesn't want that to be an implication of this whole situation, but unfortunately, without communicating how she actually feels, it's making Little Nung spiral more.
So bottom line is that Little Nueng is like fully panicking, and weirdly Chet does pull her out of the panic, and for the first time in forever, Chet asks Little Nueng directly, how are you feeling? Like, what's wrong? Are you not having fun? Like, he directly asked her a question about how she's feeling, which he's never done ever. He's avoided it, asked other people, but here he is, like, noticing she's not okay, and he asks her about it. But then follows it up, which, like, is good. It's like, good job, Chet. Are you learning? It's Chet. So, of course, he follows it up with a question that has expectations attached to it. Because he's like, what's wrong? Are you not having fun? Because that, like, puts the onus on her to be, like, politeness would be like, of course I'm having fun. You did all these things for me. Like, the way he, like, puts those two questions together, like, it's like, good try, you missed the mark, Chet. Good try, you missed the mark. You know what I mean?
The bar is so low for this man that we're
low.
just happy that he notices that something is wrong with his daughter.
And talk to her directly. It's so sad. The bar is so low. It's terrible.
It's like touching the ground. It's like cemented in the ground.
I know. It's terrible. It's in the earth's crust where the bar is, because he's that bad. Okay. So this, like, again, like, it comes off to Little Nueng as disingenuine, the way he phrases these things. So I think it makes her feel worse. So what does Little Nueng do when she's backed into a corner? She lies. And she says, it's not that bad. I'm just tired. And I think that, like, it's partially true because she's the type of person that gets socially drained. So I think this is exhausting for her because she's been performing all day, like playing the role of, like, the polite, quiet, well-mannered granddaughter, going along with it because this is what everybody else wants her to do. And now she's, like, been left alone with her thoughts long enough that she's mentally spiraling about her unhappiness, unease, and also, like, Big Nueng. And, like, Big Nueng, why didn't Big Nueng want to be with me? Like, I think she's just, like, spiraling. And she's just not in the mood for any of this. So she's just like, please leave me alone. So I think she's lying to get him to leave her alone. Like, I'm just tired. Like, please go away.
I mean, she's been masking this whole time in a way,
and failing too. Like, this is clearly so hard for her. She's like failing. And she has to
completely change who she is around these people. It's just, masking is exhausting in itself.
Correct. Yeah.
But I was thinking, and it would have been a lot better if he had his parents come to them and they all go out to a restaurant together first.
Right.
So that way it's a third party, like, neutral territory, and Little Nueng wouldn't have felt trapped. It would have been a shorter duration. She would have gotten to know them, so then she could definitely not use the excuse.
Yeah.
But Chet is selfish, and he wants to trap her and Stockholm her into being his daughter.
Yeah, it does definitely read as that way, because it's like, yeah, she's trapped in this location. I agree. I think, like, a dinner. Or, like, not that, again, if Nueng wasn't the ex-fiance, it would be like, I think Nueng would be like, have dinner at my palace.
Yeah.
Because Little Nueng feels safe here, you know?
I mean, technically, if Big Nueng invited everyone to her palace, the parents would actually have to behave. Because she's royalty and stuff.
Yeah, they would have to perform. Mm-hmm. But then again, it makes it a disingenuous interaction. And if the point of it is really for Little Nueng to bond, again, Big Nueng would overshadow all of that by just being there. And, like, the parents would have to perform for Big Nueng rather than get to know Little Nueng. So that is the issue with that. So yeah, Chet taking her out to an event, like a restaurant or something, would have been much better. But I think he was trying to be like, I want to welcome you to the family. Like, it's like his version of, like, this is a big hug. We're all going to be here. This is a special thing we do. It's our private house. Like, I want to transplant you into the family now, immediately. Because everything him and Pingfa do, it's like, we've gone over this a million times. It's like 20 years too late, everything they're doing. But they're like, both of them are like, I want you to be in the family now. So they try to rush everything to be like, let's just, it's like the equivalent of being like, come to like a big holiday event. It's just the family. And then, like, here, come, now do all the traditions you've never been a part of before. Like the karaoke, all these things that, like, they clearly do this all the time. And she's just like, what is my role here? What, you know what I mean? Like, it's like they're just like transporting her into the family without like knowing her, which is kind of weird, like when you think about it, and like uncomfortable from Little Nung's point of view.
Yeah, I want to go back to the Big Nung Palace thing really quickly. I don't even think the parents know that Big Nung is in their lives.
No, I don't think they do either. I don't think he told them anything.
No, because, like, when he talks to them, he's definitely like, oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing this. Well, I don't know, because actually the tabloid thing. So
That's
maybe.
a good point. That's right. He is leaking shit to the press. So maybe he had to tell them that. But still, I don't think they're thrilled about this.
I don't think he told them. I think they probably saw it, called him up, and was like, hey, what is this? Or they're so off the grid that they don't see anything, and he knew he didn't have to worry. I mean, he won't worry about it anyway, because he doesn't think of other people.
Or they do like the classic denial thing, where they're like, they see it, and then they just never talk about it, because it's embarrassing. Because Chet's embarrassing. Okay, so speaking of Chet. So Chet processes what Little Nung says, which is like, I'm tired, I'm just, whatever. And he thinks about it for once and comes up with a solution based on what she wants, which is like, do you want to go back now so you could take a rest? And I'm not entirely sure what he was talking about here when he says, take you back. Like, I don't know if he wanted to take her, like, quote, home. Or if he meant, like, inside the house. Like, I don't know what he meant. But, like, if he was offering her to, like, take her back to Bangkok or wherever, like, she probably would have been like, drop me off at Big Nung's. And, like, he would have done it. And that would have solved the how do I spend my birthday with her dilemma. But I don't know, geography, maybe it's too far and that wouldn't have worked. But I just couldn't understand what the hell he was talking about here. And the fact that, like, Little Nung doesn't choose to, quote, go back, like, out of this compound, like, this house. Yeah, I wonder, like, if he just meant, like, go inside. Like, I was just a little confused by, like, what they meant by take back.
I was thinking about this, too. And because Little Nung, I believe, does nod her head to agree to going back home. But I think they're talking about two different homes. And I think Chet is talking about the house that they're currently at. Like, go back inside, rest. Because this is his home as well. So, and he's trying to be like, our home. And including her, but this isn't her home. So she thinks that home. But that's not what he's thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I think
which probably makes her panic more when he takes her inside.
Right.
Which could probably cause the running away, being like, I can't do this. And now that someone told us that the family has a beach house, it makes a lot more sense for her to run away there, since it's probably really close to here. I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a minute. It's just the problem I had was with comprehending that was just they used different sets in season 1 and season 2, so I didn't understand what was happening. Oh, yeah. Also, again, this was all changed from the book, because in the book, there is no going to Big Nung's beach out for the birthday. Everything went down at Chet's place. So, like, that's why I was just like, I was confused where they actually were, because this is all different, and the places are different looking, but it's fine. We'll get there in a minute.
Hold on. Okay, fine. I'm going to write it down so I remember. Well, no, it was because you said that it all happens at his place. Could you imagine if she was actually in this house and he couldn't find her, and it's just because he didn't pay attention enough?
I mean, he would. He definitely would. In the book, it's not that Little Nung was missing. Little Nung was in her room, and then Big Nung just shows up.
Oh, no, I know, but, like, if to have it go down in that house...
Oh, yeah, that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
He would lose her in the house. Okay. So let's pivot. So, it's Big Nung's birthday, and the emotional support lesbians throw Big Nung a party, as they would. So, like, this is the family celebrating Big Nung's birthday, which is, I'm sure, how this kind of goes down from now on. I wonder, I was, like, the scene is different looking, like, this, like, where they are, and I was wondering if this was Sam and Mon's place. I think it might be. I don't remember what Sam and Mon's couch looks like, but it kind of looks like their decorum that they had outside. I think it's the Sam and Mons. I think they like had her, because like initially Nueng was like, oh, well, I'll just have them over at the palace and we'll have dinner. And I think that like Sam and Mon like threw a party for her instead at their place. That's what it looks like.
That sounds plausible.
Yeah. Then they proceed to sing the Happy Birthday song, which I thought was interesting because I thought that was a copyrighted song and you couldn't sing that.
I did some research. Okay, I got distracted by doing research.
Of course you did.
Yeah. So it was copyrighted. But in June of 2016, a U.S. federal judge signed off on a settlement to have it be in the public domain. So Warner Chappell, I think Warner Chappell was the copyright owner because they bought a small company that had the copyright in like 1983. And the company said that it would be subject to copyright until 2030. They quoted an indie film set $1,500 in order to be able to use Happy Birthday in the film. And basically they decided to sue the music company. And I think they got like a whole bunch of other people in on the lawsuit as well. And they got evidence that it was not copyrighted.
Oh shit.
So basically,
that's fucked up.
Warner Chappell was falsely claiming the song was copyrighted, and they had to pay $14 million in a settlement that gave people who licensed the song their money back. But I think they might have actually believed that they had the copyright till 2030 because the copyright would have run out in 2010, but there was a law passed in the 90s extending the copyright terms, like the length of it.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot going on, and it was like a bunch of law stuff happened, and like they couldn't. It was like the tune was no longer copyrighted because of it was like from 1893, but then the lyrics were later. So, but they couldn't prove that they owned the lyrics, so it was a whole thing.
What a mess.
Long story short, they can use it now. We can all use it.
That's really funny because like that was one of my favorite shows ever is called 30 Rock. This is a tangent, but I promise it's short and relevant. And one of the it's a comedy show, and one of the jokes in it was they were because this song was copyrighted, there were so many scenes, or quote copyrighted. There's so many scenes in shows or like in those times where like they would get ready to sing the song, and as they're getting ready, like something would interrupt it. So like to imply to the audience, we're gonna sing Happy Birthday, but we can't because it's copyrighted and we're not paying for that. So they would just cut the scene and never sing it as a joke because of this stupid copyright thing. So that's really fun. That's why I was like, that's always in my brain, that scene, anytime there's like a Happy Birthday. So I was like, wow, they're singing the song. Did they pay for that? Like, what? That's crazy. So that's cool that they don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was still copyrighted now as well.
Yeah.
So, no, for the past 8 years, we could all sing Happy Birthday.
Happy Birthday. Good to know.
But that's also why restaurants have their own version of Happy Birthday.
Correct. Yeah, no. That's what I mean. You had to do, in shows, you had to do creative ways of getting around it to not pay the copyrighted song that everybody sings on their birthday. So you like change the words, change the tune, pretend you're going to do it, and then get interrupted. Like, that's why this was jarring to me as an American viewer, because I was like, oh, wait. We can sing it now. That's interesting. All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, just thought that was weird. Okay, so back to the birthday. So Sam and Mon, of course, are adorable. They got all dressed up for Nueng's birthday, which is super cute. And I love how Big Nueng's outfit matches the decorum. Like, she's wearing kind of like a goldish shirt, which matches the balloons. It's almost like Sam and Mon know Big Nueng so well. They're like, she's number one. The most precious metal is gold. Let's do a bunch of gold. And then here's Nueng showing up in gold. So, good job, Big Nueng. Way to live up to your name. And so, it's like, I just love that Sam knows her so well that she's like, well, watch me, Mon. I got this. And like, here we go.
They could have picked gold, white, or blue. One of those.
One of those.
Sometimes
but
green.
gold. But gold's number one. That's why the gold medal, number one. Number one, Nueng in gold. So that's the colors. Actually, no, there's more to the colors. We're going to do color theory time. So quick break. So let's talk about everybody's outfit. So first of all, I love that Mon and Sam have like little hats and stuff. Like, they're so cute. Like, they went all out for Nueng's birthday. Like, they're very adorable. And I love that Mon's outfit. So Mon's wearing like a very dark pink. So it's like a very bold color, very lively, like, because she's excited and she's ready to party, right? And then she's got the white accents and like a black ribbon, which are like Sam's kind of colors. So like, there you go. Then Sam is wearing white in this scene, which is the opposite of Sam's like gray, black. So she's kind of like lively, I mean, pure intentioned in this scene because she wants to give her birthday, or her sister, a really good birthday. And her sister's partner's on here. So like, I think Sam's like, it's got to be extra good because she's going to be sad, which she is. So then let's go to Big Nueng. So Big Nueng, while she's wearing a gold color, it's more like muted. It's kind of dull, bordering beige. So it's kind of like bland and lifeless looking because that's how Big Nueng feels in this scene because she doesn't have her source of happiness with her on her birthday. So there we are with the colors. So Sam and Mon, true to their outfits, are bubbly and excited, trying to psych Big Nueng up for the cake because the food's her favorite part. They know that. But, like, poor Big Nueng can, like, barely force a smile because, like, her head is not in this. Like, you know, she's worried about Little Nueng the whole time. And, of course, Sam, the original Big Nueng whisperer, notices immediately, and she's like, what's wrong? And Big Nueng admits that she's worried about Little Nueng. And Sam, who can't let it go that her sister's in love and she can now tease her about this shit, is like, are you worried or do you just miss your girlfriend? And Big Nueng immediately says both. And I think Sam is genuinely impressed at how honest Big Nueng is being about her feelings because she's not the blunt one, Sam is. And this might be like the most direct conversation they've ever had when it comes to Big Nueng and her feelings, which is huge.
Yeah, the growth from Big Nueng is crazy that has resulted from her relationship with Little Nueng. And really, I think this is like the hallmark of a good and healthy relationship that both parties change for the better. Like we mentioned earlier about Little Nueng not changing herself, but when both people are changing and it's better for them as people, that's what makes a good relationship.
Yeah, I agree. Change is not always a bad thing. It can be scary or exciting, but like change can be a good thing. Like, you know, like
we do use change as like a negative word a lot in society in general.
Because we're afraid. People are inherently afraid of such things changing, but like not always a bad thing.
Yeah.
Okay. But let's go back to Big Nueng. So why is Big Nueng worried? I think she feels guilty for making Little Nueng promise to spend time with people Little Nueng views as strangers. And she knows that Little Nueng is a major introvert. And I think she's worried Little Nueng is miserable. And Chet is a homophobe, so she's worried he's not going to fully accept her, even though she knows that's what Little Nueng needs. And I'm sure she's not a fan of his parents. I'm sure she doesn't like anybody. So I think she's just a ball of anxiety. We'll just kind of say that. And because, like, it's family dinner and stuff, Nueng, I'm sure, wants to text Little Nueng and be like, how are you? Are you okay? And, like, blow up her phone. But, like, she's probably restraining from doing that so Little Nueng can bond with the family. Naturally, this beautiful sister bonding moment is ruined by Chet, because isn't it always? And he calls her and says, yo, Big Nueng, Little Nueng disappeared, and I've been searching everywhere. Probably
Did
not.
You check upstairs?
Right, he's probably looked in 2 places and was like, she's not by the pool. That's where I saw her last. I can't find her. What do I do? So this news sends Big Nueng into an actual panic attack, and Chet admits he has no idea where she is. And so Big Nueng, without any additional information, says, I'll be right there. Like, he didn't say, can you come help me? She's just like, I can't find her. And she's like, I'll be right there. Immediately. No more information. She's like, I gotta go get her. So she hangs up the phone and then fills Mon and Sam in on what just happened. And Sam asks, well, do you have any idea where she could be? And Big Nueng's face journey tells me her thoughts went exactly to where Little Nueng's thoughts went in the prior scene when Little Nueng had the flashback to the beach house. And Big Nueng's like, yes, I think I know where she went. She went to our beach house on the Isle of Lesbos. So now, with this realization, Big Nueng, because like this is far away. Like, who hints far away? It's a drive, right? So Big Nueng could have called Chet back immediately and given him the address. Because as we learned from Little Nung, the key is under the plant pot, which, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? Anyway, so he could have gotten into the beach house the same way Little Nung did. She could have called this, cleared this up, and found Little Nung in 5 minutes. But she doesn't do that. Because that would have been faster, right?
Yeah, but why would she? That would literally only make things 1,000 times worse. Like,
okay, so instead, she keeps this information to herself and, like, breaks every traffic law in Thailand, probably, to get to the beach house while blowing up Little Nung's phone. Because, like, Little Nung is not answering her phone, so she's clearly extremely worried, but, like, she could have sent Chet to go find her immediately. So, like, why doesn't she send Chet? To your point, Little Nung ran away because she doesn't trust these people. If Chet were to confront Little Nung, it would make things worse because it's Chet, like you said. But more importantly, and I think the most important thing, is that Big Nung wants to be the one to find her. Big Nung wants to lay her own eyes on Little Nung to see for herself that Little Nung is okay, because I don't think Big Nung would be able to relax until she does that. So I think it's more selfishly motivated than unselfishly, because Big Nung is not okay, and Big Nung knows she's not going to be okay until she finds her. This is kind of like when we jump ahead to, like, the later half of this season, where, like, she's like, I have to hover in this hospital because I have to be the first one she sees. This is kind of, this gave me the similar vibe where she's like, I have to be the one that finds her. It can't be Chet. It has to be me, because I think she'll freak out until that happens. So anyway, so Big Nung goes to leave, and Mon and Sam were like, good luck. And Sam tells Big Nung, call me when you find her. Put a pin in that, okay? I'm sure Chet said the same thing. So, but there's no pinky promise here, so, like, keep that in mind. And honestly, like, I think Big Nung's so worried, she probably didn't even hear Mon or Sam. After she got the phone call, she's probably like, whatever, and didn't hear Sam say this and just, like, left. So she leaves to go speed off into the night, and leaving Mon and Sam, and poor Mon and Sam are just, like, sadly looking at the uneaten cake, and they're like, aw, I guess we can eat it. I don't know, what do we do with it? Do we leave it for long? Do we eat it? What do we do?
I love the shot of that cake, because it's so long on this cake, too.
It's so sad.
That it's the funniest thing, because I was watching on 1.5 times the speed to prepare for this episode again, and, like, it was still long.
A while. It lingers.
But in my head, they're asking themselves, so can we eat it?
Right. Can we eat the cake? Do we save
I'm like, why
cake?
are we staring at this cake for so long?
I think it's just
I would
like,
also think the same thing.
So funny. Okay, so meanwhile, Big Nung speeds over the Owl Lesbos, like, literally breaking every traffic law. And the sound distortion in this scene when she's blowing up Little Nung's phone, I think is the worst sound distortion in the show.
Are you talking about the phone ringing?
Yes. It's terrible.
Okay, so I thought about it more. It's pretty accurate, actually. Because, like, it sounds weird in the car when you're calling someone.
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, maybe not
it
as
distorts.
bad, but... Yeah, but, like, the car definitely distorts the ring.
Oh, no, it definitely does. But I feel like it's the gains are up, so it makes it worse than it normally is. I can't listen to the sound in this scene in the car. Because even the music that's playing sounds distorted, so everything sounds distorted. Okay. But it could be purposeful because Big Nung is so completely out of sorts in this scene. Like, she's full on panicking. So everything, like, the world is distorting. And, like, her worst nightmare is, like, literally playing out. Like, Little Nung has disappeared. She can't find her. So, like, it could be on purpose. But, like, I have issues with listening to the sound in this particular scene. And it could be on purpose because, like, to evoke the emotion, right? So as she's driving, she's, like, literally blowing up the phone. She's like, why isn't she picking up the phone? And she's doing it over and over and over and over and over again. And eventually she gets to the beach house. All right, so this threw me, like I mentioned earlier, this threw me off the first time I watched it because, like, the sets are different in season 1 and season 2. So I didn't recognize this for what it was, but I was like, where else would Little Nung go? And Big Nung know where to find her? It has to be a mutual location. So
there was no indication of where they were.
Right. So she, yeah, other than the fact that, like, little Nueng had the thought of, like, she remembered their time at the beach house last time. That's the only indicator that, like, she was having happy memories. Chet's like, do you want to keep hanging out with us? And she's like, no. So, like, she's going to go back to where she had the happy memories. And it's in the same area. So, like, that's kind of how you put it together. But, like, the sets are different. So it's just visually throws you off. But where is little Nueng specifically? So when Big Nueng enters, she enters a room. So I think this is supposed to be the same room where they had their first kiss, which makes this a full circle moment that's about to happen. And it would make sense why little Nueng would probably retreat into Big Nueng's room. Because remember, she had her own room, but then she was like, I can't sleep. So she probably retreated into the safest space in the house, which is where she first spent the night, like, platonically with a kiss with Big Nueng. So that's probably where she's at, because that's a significant moment when, like, Big Nueng gave into her feelings and all that kind of stuff. Which the similar thing's about to happen here. So Big Nueng busts into the room, turns on the lights, sees little Nueng, and says her name, Nueng. And, like, because she's just like, that's why she did this. She's like, you're here, I see you, I can finally kind of, like, process all this shit. And then asks, how did you get here? Because, like, she ain't got a car, she can't drive, we know this. How did she get here? This is not, like, a city, really. There's some public transportation, I imagine, but probably not like there would be in Bangkok, where it's easier to, like, you know, get around. So she's like, how the fuck did you get here? And little Nueng's cheeky ass is like, I used the key under the pot that you probably showed me. Which is not what Big Nueng was asking. Honestly, she's just so relieved little Nueng's okay and alive that she just, like, hugs her without saying anything. Big Nueng is relieved, but also, like, the adrenaline of the night driving is, like, starting to wear off along with her ability to be strong. So she's kind of, like, starts emotionally crumbling under the weight of her worry, basically. I think that Big Nueng was doing her best to hold herself together up until this point because she had to in order to function to find little Nueng. But now that she's found her, seen her, is touching her, Big Nueng's emotions just, like, the guardrails come all the way down, and she's just, the award-winning tears start hovering immediately.
And boy, is she pulling her as close as possible. And it made me think back to 104, where she was doing this same thing, hugging her so close with her hand on her head. And it's when she had just found out that little Nueng was Pingfa's child, and it's the child that she had told Pingfa to abort. And both of these moments, she was terrified of losing little Nueng. And she's just trying to hold her as close as possible so she never loses her.
Yeah. This is because Big Nueng just got a big taste of her biggest fear, like, coming to life. And, like, for real. Like, it was theoretical with Pingfa, because, like, here's little Nueng, totally fine. But, like, now it was, like, it almost actually happened, and she was, like, losing her mind. So Big Nueng, like, now that she knows she's okay and can physically and visually confirm all of that, Big Nueng asks, why didn't you tell me, like, you came here? Like, why didn't you just tell me? Like, instead you just ran away and told and ghosted everyone, including me. And I think Big Nueng understands why little Nueng wouldn't tell anybody else, like Chet, like, why would she? But Big Nueng isn't anyone. She's like, you're my everything, I'm your everything. Why didn't you fucking tell me you did this? Like, that's the problem she has right now. She's like, I didn't know what happened to you. That's not that you did this. It's that I didn't know what happened. You didn't tell me. And when they're hugging after, like, Big Nueng asks this, the camera pans to little Nueng. And she looks pleased with herself because all she wanted was to spend today with Big Nueng, because today's Big Nueng's birthday. And here's Big Nueng. She manifested her. She, like, what was the secret? She, like, wrote it on the board. Big Nueng. And, like, here's Big Nueng. She's like, yay, it worked.
She said it 3 times in the mirror.
Right. Big Nueng, Big Nueng, Big Nueng. Big Nueng burst in the room. Yeah, exactly. So she's just like, Big Nueng's here. This is all I wanted today. My master plan of running away totally worked. And little Nueng, I think she, like, understands Big Nueng's upset and tries to, like, downplay all this by being super cute about it. So she tells Big Nueng, well, you pushed me away on your birthday and I was sad, so I ran away to my happy place. Like, this is your fault. this is the place where we played in the ocean, had our first kiss. And I think that why Little Nueng chose this place is A, it exists, but B, she wanted to be closer to Big Nueng. That was her whole thing. So she came to a place filled with their memories, like important ones, to like calm down and like refocus after like the Chet family stuff. And like Little Nueng again tries to be playful about this and be like, Big Nueng, this is your fault because like you pushed me away, basically. You told me to be with somebody else on your birthday and I just wanted to spend the day with you. And Big Nueng tells her like that's not a nice thing to say about her dad. Like he's trying, and Big Nueng really, really wants him to accept Little Nueng for all the reasons we've stated before. And like this was a complete disaster, what just happened. And Big Nueng's probably thinking like this would have been less of a disaster if she had just tagged along to the outing, which would have been a disaster also, but a different kind of disaster, because then like we wouldn't have had the Harry Houdini thing that Little Nueng just did that made everybody worried, including her.
Yeah, it was not a great ending to the evening for everybody. Well, I mean, like, maybe that it's going to be a great ending.
It's going to be a great ending in a minute, but like it has a little bit of trauma, going on, because like it wouldn't be a TV show if we didn't have a bit of drama, right? Anyway, so then Little Nueng voices the real issue she had with the whole ordeal. Like she's like, today's a special day. It's our first birthday together. So it's not just the fact that like Big Nueng didn't want to spend time with her or whatever. It's like, this was a relationship milestone. And she's like, we were going to miss out on this milestone we're supposed to do together. Like our first birthday as a couple is what she's saying. And so this was even more of an important day for Little Nueng. And she was robbed of celebrating a birthday with Big Nueng like she wanted to. And she was robbed of having Big Nueng all to herself, which is also what she wanted. So I think Little Nueng is just like frustrated with the way the birthdays keep going down with the two of them. Her 21st birthday was a hot mess, which like she's like, I just wanted to spend the day with you, Big Nueng. What happened? Big Nueng's like, here's your mom, your dad, and folk. And Little Nueng's like, I didn't want this at all. And then Big Nueng's birthday, what happens? Big Nueng's like, it's my birthday. Please spend it with your dad. So I think Little Nueng is just very frustrated. She's like, why do we keep having birthdays where we're not together? We're fighting. What the hell is this?
Well, it's always the family implication of like, you can never forget that the family issue is still there. So
it's still an issue. We got to resolve it, guys. But like, that was Big Nueng being like, can we just resolve this? Like, just, it's one birthday. It'll be fine. All right. So after this truth bomb, Little Nueng pivots back into being cute because she's trying to like she's doing the thing that she used to do a lot in season 1 where she'd up the cuteness to try and get Big Nueng not to be mad at her and stuff. I think that's what she's doing in this scene. And she's like, well, Big Nueng, like, it's also your fault because you didn't even call me. If you missed me so much, you would have called me. And Big Nueng looks offended by this. And is like, bitch, I called you 40 times and you didn't pick up. Because she's like, allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm the woman that called your cell phone every 10 seconds the last time you disappeared. And I found you at the art stall. Remember that? Now here we are again. And if you check your phone right now, you'll see that I called you actually more than 40 times on my ride over here. Who knows how long this car ride was. And she's the one that found her. So like, Little Nueng's like, yeah, you do that. I can't. I'm pretty sure if I check my phone, it'd be like 100 missed calls from Big Nueng. So, but what Little Nueng actually meant, I think by this was like, you didn't call me earlier in the day when she was at the family barbecue. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm sure Big Nueng was like, probably hid her cell phone because she was like, I'm gonna call her. I want to call her.
Oh, she would have called her every 5 seconds.
That's what I mean. I think they would have been texting constantly.
Was on her phone, like about to hit it. I was like, damn it.
That's what I mean. I'm pretty sure she's like,
Sam.
To
forget.
I'm pretty sure she's like, Sam, hold my phone. While we have dinner.
Locks it in one of those bags that they use at concerts.
Yeah.
But my favorite part of this thing is like the little chuckle and the from
because Little Nueng's like, you are that bitch. That's right. You are that bitch.
Like, oh my bad. That's my bad.
Yeah. So after hearing about the 40 phone calls, Little Nueng, who probably put her phone on silent, looks super embarrassed and is like, oh damn, I accused her of this and I didn't even check my phone today because I knew she wasn't going to call me when I was with my dad, basically.
Because she wanted the best for you, Little Nueng.
She does. So what does Little Nueng do? She changes her body language. Because, like, she was like, I'm in control of this conversation. And then she immediately shifts her body language into more, like, submissive body language, because she knows she can't fully put the blame on Big Nueng. Everyone's at fault here. Also, she's mostly at fault. She ran away and told nobody. And she ultimately doesn't want Big Nueng to be mad at her. And so she starts like cowering a little bit, putting Big Nueng in the more dominant role for the rest of the conversation. And this body language shift is a foreshadowing for where this whole thing is headed. But Big Nueng is still like, I think she's like, again, feeling all of the worry that she was trying to like mute on the way over here, and it's just like it's overriding every other thing in her body right now. So she's at her wit's end. Like, again, her biggest fear literally just happened, and she found out this was 100% avoidable because little Nueng didn't feel comfortable telling her about it. So Big Nueng literally begs little Nueng not to disappear and cut off contact with her ever again.
This is big because
Yes.
I mean, they never really cared about status before, but now this is basically the queen begging don't leave her, always be with her. This just shows that now little Nueng is the highest person in Thailand.
Yeah. And I think that, and like what really becomes apparent to little Nueng in this scene, and you watch like her processing this as Big Nueng keeps going, is that little Nueng can see how scared Big Nueng is. Like, she's terrified, like was terrified of her, like so scared. She's begging her, please don't ever do this again. And she's never seen Big Nueng like this before. I think she got a glimpse of it in 106 when she ran away from Pingfa, and Big Nueng admitted she was worried about her. That was, I found her at the art stall scene. But this is something entirely different. Because Big Nueng tells her, I was so worried about you, I was going crazy. And like, it's very evident from Big Nueng right here that is 100% true. Like, she was worried sick about losing her girlfriend. Like, that's what was happening. And at the end of this, Big Nueng does not argue with little Nueng. She just like says, I'm sorry. Like, if I'm the one, if my actions forced you into, like, made you do all this, like, I'm sorry. Like, I will never do whatever the hell this is ever again. Like, just please promise me you won't do this ever again. Like, and she just like hugs her. And like, while they're in the hug, little Nueng says Big Nueng's name, and it takes Big Nueng a second to register that. Cause I think she's just like, as like the, like, emotions are kind of like being processed, she's like getting to the point where she can relax and like just be like relieved, like, and she's so relieved to like have physical contact with little Nueng that she's just so distracted, like she can't, like, her brain's not working right. And little Nueng, being little Nueng, is of course over the moon that Big Nueng cares this deeply about her and is openly expressing that. Like, there is no mask in this scene. There is no emotional anything. Like, Big Nueng is just being real, like very real, like too real.
We've come so far, though.
So far.
Oh my gosh, like, this girl is spilling all her heart, her thoughts, every little thing that she's been plaguing her, basically plaguing her thoughts.
She begs, like says I'm sorry. Like,
if you watch the first episode and then watch this.
Yeah.
It is night and day.
Yes. The contrast is very stark. Exactly. And little Nueng knows that. That's why she's like, wow. This is girlfriend Nueng. I'm here for this. The problem is that, like, okay, so they're not fully on the same page with what's happening here, because little Nueng's still in, like, I'm trying to diffuse this situation and make her happy again mode. So little Nueng doesn't quite understand what Big Nueng is actually trying to say in the scene. She assumes Big Nueng is worried because she's, quote, young, and Big Nueng fills the role of the older one, protector, mentor stuff. So she assumes that Big Nueng is worried that she, like, quote, ran away from home. And, like, so she assures her, like, look, I'm a strong, independent woman. Like, you don't need to worry about me so much. I'm resourceful. Like, I could have gotten on a bus and gone back to Bangkok myself if I wanted to. Like, you don't need to worry about me. I'm an adult now, right? Because I think she misunderstands what Big Nueng is really trying to say here. But Big Nueng clarifies that, like, she's like, I'm not worried about you because, like, you were acting childishly or any of that stuff. And, like, I'm not judging your capabilities or in any way. Like, she's like, I couldn't contact you. That's why I'm worried. I didn't know where you were or what happened to you. And, like, you just, like, Little Nung just disappeared without any trace. And like Big Nung is very open and honest about like, that's why I'm worried. It's like, you just immediately disappeared from my life. I didn't know why. I couldn't find you. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, that's what it was. It wasn't the fact that you like ran away from Chet. I get it. Like,
But I understand that little Nung is thinking like that because that poor girl has trauma from being treated like she's a child.
yes.
Like, and little Nung did do it in the, not little Nung, sorry. Big Nung did do it a little bit in the beginning. But then she treats her like her age, like a person, basically. So I think a part of her is always worried that she may go like that again. I don't know. I know she won't, but
That's a good point about the personhood stuff because like Big Nung is treating her like a person in this scene. So Big Nung also says like, because she's saying I was just worried about you is what she's saying. I wasn't mad about why you did it. I'm just worried. I was worried about you, right?
because she totally understands why she did it.
Right. Well, I mean, yes, she uniquely out of everybody who's looking for Little Nung knows why she did it. But like, if Chet got a hold of her, he would scold her or whatever. Like, if Little Nung's what happens when Little Nung's grandmother finds out about this? She's like, how could you do that? That's improper. Like, she would get scolded like a child, but Big Nung
Stop
is not
embarrassing me.
Correct. Big Nung is not saying any of that. What she's showing Little Nung is she's like, I care about you, the person. I was worried about you and something happened to you. Like, it wasn't about why. It wasn't about embarrassment. It was like, I was worried about you. And this might be the first time ever Little Nung has had anybody be worried about her to this degree, right? Because what does Big Nung say? I couldn't live without you, is what she says. Like, she's like, I was worried about losing you forever. That's what I was worried about. I wasn't worried about why, who you offended, none of that. I was worried about losing you forever. And I cannot live without you, Little Nung the person. That's huge. Talk about growth. Oh my God. Like, because like Big Nung's not playing games here. She's being real. She's being very honest. She thought she lost Little Nung forever, which is her biggest fear and has been her biggest fear since she started really putting together what these feelings were she was having. Remember, if you go back to like 104, I think, the birthday, and Little Nung was about to go to America, and Big Nung was like, finally, like, no, I'm not letting you leave. Like, she's been terrified of Little Nung, quote, disappearing the whole time. And here it was playing out. And now she's openly telling Little Nung, like, that's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is losing you. That's what she's saying in the scene. And so that's why she keeps going. And she's like, I promise I won't let you ever go through any of these things by yourself ever again. Like, you know, and basically I think what Big Nung is really trying to say with, I won't let you go anywhere. I don't think she's saying like, I'm going to control you. I think what she's saying is like, I'm not going to let you go through these things alone ever again. Like, because I think Little Nung felt alone, like in the family outing. Like, I think Big Nung is saying like, if we had to do this all over again and we had to do the Chet family outing thing, she's like, I would have just gone with you. Despite all the bullshit I would have brought to the table. Like, I don't care about that. I care more about your safety and like you not running away or disappearing, all of that stuff. Like, I think that Big Nung in the scene feels like the whole thing was her fault. That's why she says, I'm sorry, because she's the one that pushed Little Nung to go to this alone when she could have went with her, but you know, she didn't. Yeah, and so she's promising like,
she's like indirectly hurting Little Nung.
I think she's like, I caused all this because you would have been with me on my birthday. I pushed you to go to this. Then you ran away. Then I almost lost you. So it's that spiraling thought of like, I made this decision and it almost resulted in me losing her forever. Why do I keep making mistakes? That's where Big Nung's thoughts went. So she's like, we'll never do that again. We're going to be glued at the hip forever from now on. So this never happens again. Because I think what she's really promising in the scene is that like Little Nung will not have to face anything like this alone ever again. She's like, I'm always going to be with you. So you don't have to face things alone. You don't have to feel like you have to run away. Like, because at the end, Big Nung ends this by begging Little Nung, don't disappear like that ever again. Because she can't handle it. She cannot handle it. And watching Big Nung pour her heart out is what makes Little Nung realize that, like, this isn't a game. And this is when she drops the cute act, right? And so what's her response? She grabs Big Nung's face. So this is something she rarely does, which I think indicates that Little Nung understands the gravity of this situation. And it's her way of showing Big Nung that she's taking this seriously. And also, like, physical touch is something that grounds Big Nung. So she takes her face to, like, ground Big Nung and convey this as serious, and then she apologizes back. She says, I'm really sorry. Because, of course, running away, her intention was not to hurt Big Nung, obviously. Like, Little Nung was just trying to get out of there, right? She was uncomfortable and miserable and trying to take care of herself, right? Doing something, quote, that's, like, selfish for herself. Because that's what she needed. And she gave zero fucks about what Chet's reaction was going to be, because who would? And because Big Nung is usually so guarded with her feelings, I don't think Little Nung thought this was going to be a big deal when she found out. After all, like, in her brain, she's like, well, Big Nung left me to fend for myself, so here I am doing that. But what happens? She gets this huge reaction from Big Nung when she, quote, disappears. And witnessing that changed everything, really.
No, this was, like, not only does she hear, but she can, like, feel the pain radiating off of Big Nung right now. Like, she understands how much this woman cares about her and how...
Your dog's scared, too.
Yeah, and, like, okay, I got it. So, like, she spent the whole first season just trying to get to Big Nung. And, like, the whole thing was just trying to get Big Nung to realize that, yes, she does have feelings. But with Big Nung, like, just wearing... She basically has her heart on her sleeve right now. And Little Nung is receiving everything she could ever want. This is really Little Nung's makeup. Did I say makeup? Because I think yes. I might have said make out by accident, or I thought it.
I mean, we'll get there. We will get there.
Makeup birthday party, like, redo.
Yes.
So this is them celebrating their birthdays together.
Yeah. No, it's true. This is the best present ever. Like, just this, the emotional intimacy part of what's... We'll get to a different present in a minute, but the emotional intimacy part, I think, is even more important for all the reasons you just stated. Because I think this is a big turning point.
I think both of them need verbal reassurance as well. Because
for sure.
of all the crappy people in their life, that a lot of people say one thing and then do the exact opposite, or, like, their actions do not show that they care about them. But with them being able to talk about how they really feel and just the raw emotion coming from them, they understand what they both mean to each other. And that's all they could ever want. And, like, from now on, I mean, before they were always, like, really close, but this is them, like, really, really understanding what they mean to each other.
Yeah, and really it's Little Nung
understanding Big Nung.
Big Nung. Because Big Nung is desperate in this scene. And Big Nung is not a desperate person. She's a very well put together, stoic, strong human. And here she is at her lowest. This is a low point for Big Nung. And she's just desperate in this scene. And it's all because of Little Nung. And Little Nung, it really solidifies how much Big Nung loves her. Because if you think about where they're at now, too, it's still... Little Nung still has that insecurity thing because the relationship is still closeted, right? So, like... And, like, yeah, they Big Nung does a lot of things to be like, no, like, I love you. I promise this is just going to take time. But I think Little Nung still, it's like the loyal pin. I will bring this back to the loyal pin. It's like, once there's more security in the relationship, like, things change. And I think for Little Nung, it's still, like, not fully, Big Nung's not fully hers 100% because she can't shout it from a rooftop, basically, and, like, get Chet to leave her alone. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, there's that insecurity in the back of her head. But, like, having moments like these, I think it's like, none of that matters. Like, you're the one that keeps preaching that, like, all that matters is us. All that matters is how we feel. Well, here's Big Nung showing you 100% every card she has in her deck and being like, this is how I feel about you. I feel so strongly that I can't live without you. Like, wow. That means more than being like, that's my girlfriend in public, doesn't it? Like, this is, like, the most intimate thing ever is to hear that from Big Nung, the woman who never cared about anybody. Here she is saying, like, you're the one person I can't live without. Like, that's huge. That's more than I love you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So after Little Nung lets go of Big Nung's face, she promises Big Nung she won't disappear like that ever again. And if you notice, she offers her pinky to Big Nueng. It's very quick, but you can see her like try to do a pinky promise. But it's there. So like, again, showing that like Little Nueng's serious about this because she wants to make it legally binding. She's like, I will never purposely disappear from you ever again, Big Nueng. Look, here's the contract.
Yep. And this is when I got distracted by more research. Because every single show that we see now in Thailand has a pinky promise. So I was like, there has to be something. So I Googled Pinky Promise Thailand. And I found out that they have a Pinky Promise mascot since 2017. The mascot's name in English is Miss Pinky Promise.
Nice.
And the Defense Ministry uses it to promote national reconciliation and unity.
So for legal reasons.
The first mascot, they just like reused an old mascot and then like added some stuff to it. So it was pretty cheap. And people hated it so much. They were like, it's creepy. So they made a new one in 2018 and like made a whole mascot for it. And the whole thing is still creepy. Like the finger, I don't know. Anyway, and I think they like continue to keep revamping this mascot. But I just love that they have a Pinky Promise mascot.
It's serious. It's serious business. All right. Thank you for the fun fact, Kaitlynn.
You're welcome.
Okay, so after the Pinky Promise, I'm sure happened out of what we could see because the editors cut away. Big Nueng just admits that she's just relieved Little Nueng is safe. And then she reaches to touch Little Nueng's face. Because, like, again, it's almost like she's not real unless I'm touching her kind of thing. This isn't really happening unless we're touching. So while she's caressing, like, while Big Nueng is, like, having this huge moment of, like, relief and catharsis, Little Nueng is grinning. Because here she is getting Big Nueng to show her whole hand and show her entire heart. And Little Nueng's like, I can't believe this is happening. This is the best gift ever. And Big Nueng is mildly annoyed that Little Nueng finds her breakdown amusing. Like, I'd be pissed too. She's like, don't smile right now. This is a serious moment. But being the huge simp that she is, Big Nueng can't stay mad. Instead, she admits that even though it's been 10 hours since they've seen each other, Big Nueng had missed Little Nueng a lot because they're codependent.
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, we've talked about that many times now.
Yeah,
but once Big Nueng realizes that she likes someone, there's no getting rid of, you're hers forever.
Yes.
Like, it takes a lot for Big Nueng to love someone, but once she loves someone, she loves them hard and loves them forever.
She's like a bird. She mates for life. She's like, that's mine. That's it. Yeah, that's Big Nueng. That's what's happening. That is 100% what's happening with both of them, honestly. Little Nueng was like, that's mine forever. And then Big Nueng, it took a while. Then she's like, that's mine forever. So that's the scene. But, okay, huge thing, because Little Nueng, I think, spent most of the day feeling kind of, like, abandoned by Big Nueng. So then to hear Big Nueng being like, I missed you so much, like, Little Nueng is pleased. She's finally, I think she finally relaxes and is like, okay, we're fine. So she says, well, this is when she turns it into flirting, where she's like, well, I guess you love me so much. That's why you missed me. And then Big Nueng immediately is like, yes. That is right. I love you. And then pet names Little Nueng by saying, like, my dear. And now it's Little Nueng's turn to turn into a flustered mess because she's like, damn, girl, you can't say things like that without a diabetes warning. I need a lime wedge stat. Like, what the hell?
I need a lime wedge stat.
It's too sweet.
Oh, I get it. I just find it funny that you used the word stat. Oh,
yeah, I purposely use a bunch of medical jargon. All right, so before she can even move, Big Nueng tugs Little Nueng closer into her personal space and whispers all sultry and shit. She's like, don't you like it, though? Because she's like, I'm being straightforward and, like, cute and all this shit, and don't you like it? And Little Nueng is like, abso-fucking-lutely, I love it. And then gives her a kiss as, like, a reward, like a little chaste one. And I thought this was significant because, like, Little Nueng is not often the one initiating kissing. It's usually Big Nueng, like, falls into the role of, like, the one that initiates a lot of the physical contact between them. Little Nueng chooses her moments to, like, be the one that initiates it. It's usually significant moments. Like, if we go back to, like, 201, Well, actually, Little Nung initiates the first kiss because she had to. And then Little Nung initiates the kiss in 201 where, like, Big Nung is trying to be like, you gotta let me go and, like, live your life. And Little Nung's like, nope, you're the one that I want. The Grease song. Honey. Yeah. So there's that. So, like, she chooses her moments is the bottom line. And so during this kiss, Little Nung keeps her eye, like, Big Nung is just like, yes, and, like, is feeling all the things. And Little Nung keeps her eyes on Big Nung. And I noticed that she does this a lot. And I wonder if it's, like, part of Little Nung is, like, making sure this is really happening. And also, like, it's Big Nung. How can you not look at her?
Yeah, no, she just wants to look at her. Like,
it's also that.
Big Nung.
Big Nung. Like, relatable. Girl, I get it. Like, the visual. So after the kiss, Big Nung asks Little Nung if she's like, can you wish me a happy birthday? And this was, like, very sincere sounding from her because I think, like, all, like, teasing and, like, little games aside, I think, like, this is the thing that Big Nung really wanted for her birthday, right? Time with family we've talked about, and time with Little Nung. And I think she wanted Little Nung to whisper sweet nothings into her ear, like, as a birthday gift. But of course, what she's not expecting is for Little Nung to be Little Nung, because even though they've been together for a while, Big Nung is still thrown off her game by Little Nung constantly, and I love that about them.
Because Little Nung's really good at just finding the moment to throw her off.
Yeah.
He's like, I know you know me, but I can find those moments where you think something different's gonna happen, and let's just see if we can go in a different direction. But it always ends up the same way with them in bed.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Little Nung's got mad game. It's just what it is. So Little Nung takes this as an opportunity to tease Big Nung because Big Nung. So without saying anything, she gives Big Nung this, like, seductive glance and, like, hovers. Because, like, Little Nung's, like, kind of in the position of power, transitioning a little bit in the scene. And she kind of hovers over her face like she's going to kiss Big Nung, but she doesn't. And Big Nung doesn't understand this game, but she's like, whatever's happening, I'm into it. It's fine. Happy birthday to me. And Little Nung, like, keeps hovering, and then she's like, close your eyes. And she lingers until Big Nung does it, because Big Nung's like, but I want to see where this is going. And Little Nung's like, you gotta do it. And Big Nung's like, okay, fine. So she does. And then Little Nung, like, checks. She's like, okay, she closes her eyes. So then she, like, gets off the bed and then, like, sits in Big Nung's lap. And Big Nung's eyes fly open immediately. And a wicked grin that spreads across Big Nung's face. That's a gift all on its own. Because she's like, what is this? And Little Nung's like, I told you to close your eyes. Like, what are you doing? And Big Nung's like, how can I close my eyes? Like, look at the visual. Like, what is that? Like, how can I close your eyes when you're sitting in my lap? What do you want? I'm only human, Little. That's so funny. Because, like, yeah, Little Nung, you didn't tell her she was going to do this. She didn't expect this. And then she's like, what is this? And the way Big Nung and her wicked gaze just, like, roam Little Nung's body while she's doing that, she's like, I like the view, is what she's saying. And Little Nung's like, listen, I'm flattered, and we'll get to that later. But for now, I need you to close your eyes. Like, come on, just go along with me. Did you want your happy birthday wish or not? And Big Nung's like, fine. I love the way they're just so playful in this scene. She's like, okay. And then she, like, opens one eye to stare and pisses off Little. It's so funny the way they keep going back and forth. And then eventually, Big Nung's like, fine, for real, I'll close my eyes. And while her eyes are closed, Little Nung does wish her a happy birthday. And based on what she says, it's really evident how well she knows Big Nung. Because her message is super personal and really sweet. Based on, like, all the stuff we've seen Big Nung go through this past year with, like, the grandmother dying, the song stuff, like, all of the, like, you know, going back to the past. She's had a lot of upheaval in her life over the past year. And Little Nung was there with her through all that stuff. So, like, I love that she says, like, I wish you all this happiness. Because, like, she didn't have a lot of that in the prior year. And I like when she says the word happiness, I do love that Big Nung, whose eyes are closed, who's just hearing this, she pulls Little Nung closer to her. Like, it's really subtle. And I think she's doing this because, like, her happiness is sitting in her lap. Like, that's her way of showing Little Nung, it's you. Like, you're my happiness. Like, the way of saying it without saying it. Which is really cute. I like that move. Then Little Nung says, like, I wish that, like, all the sorrows of the past go away for you. Because I think she, more than anyone, knows how much the past was weighing on Big Nung. And she knows that, like, grief is not something you just, like, deal with one day and it's gone forever. I think she knows that Big Nung still is processing all of that, and she's like she's very confidently has told her before, like, I know you'll get through it. It's just a process. And this was my favorite line because it's so personal, and I think nobody else except maybe Sam could have ever earnestly wished her this. And so I love that Little Nung says it. Then Little Nung completes the whole thing by reminding Big Nung what she means to her. And she says, today, tomorrow, and all the days to come, I'll be the one to tell you that you deserve all the happiness in the world. And before Little Nung makes her final move, okay, let's talk about something. Big Nung has come such a long way when it comes to happiness. Like, literally no one aside from Sam and maybe Song has ever expressed any kind of concern about Big Nung's true happiness, right? It was always like artificial or like with strings, whatever. Like Little Nung, other people have always had expectations of her, like the Grandman, Auntie Nim to some degree, like follow the rules, and like Chet and all that kind of shit. And all those people were demanding that she conform, right? And Little Nung has experience in that. That's their shared trauma. And that lifestyle made Big Nung miserable, and she ran away from it. So in this quest to find her happiness, Big Nung found Little Nung, right? And Little Nung is not only Big Nung's source of happiness. Little Nung is someone who cares about Big Nung's happiness, okay? And this is a first for Big Nung, to have somebody in her life who values her happiness, like, a lot. And while Big Nung spends the majority of the show fighting this or trying to figure out how to find balance, that kind of stuff, I think she embraces her own happiness without second guessing herself, like, in this moment, in this scene. And that's another marker of like tremendous growth coming from Big Nung. And it's all thanks to Little Nung and her impact. And I think this birthday wish really solidifies all of that.
I think this wish was a poem that she wrote for her, because it's very poetic.
It is. It's so sweet and personal and beautiful. And just the cherry on top, the way she ends it is the most personal thing and most romantic thing she could have possibly done in Big Nung's eyes. So after the wish, she leans in and whispers the ultimate pet name. It's like Tirak, I think is how you say it, and it means my love. It's like the ultimate pet name. It's the ultimate pet name, okay? The most intimate thing you can call your partner. And Big Nung, I'm pretty sure after she hears that, forgets everything else Little Nung says. And it's just like, what did you call me? Like, that's the next thing out of her mouth. Not thank you. What did you just call me? Because pet names are the biggest weakness. And how Little Nung went about this, again, she whispered it, even though no one else is there. It's like, no, so nobody else could hear, even if there were onlookers. It's the most intimate thing possible. And then when Big Nung challenges her on it, because she wants to hear it again, Little Nung's like, it won't be special if I say it too many times. I can only say it once. Which is like, that's all Big Nung has ever wanted, right? That shows how special Little Nung views her. Like, this is how Big Nung wants to be courted. This is her version of romance. She's like, finally, you understand me. And like, all that, like, again, this is Little Nung's growth too, right? Remember her constantly like being annoying in a way about how much she says, I love you, let's move in. Like over and because she like wanted Big Nung to believe it. But I think they understand each other enough to know like the other person's love language. So by Little Nung refusing to like say it over and over again, she's like, no, it's only special if I do it once. Big Nung is like, she's perfect. She understands me.
This is what listening to a person's wants is. You might not think the same way, but just trying to adapt to the other person's needs will mean the world to them. And that's all that matters.
Yeah. No, it's, again, they don't just grow as individuals, they grow as a couple, which is awesome. And like, we don't always get to see that on screen. There's so many things I appreciate about this show and how it depicts a healthy relationship, but like phases of a relationship, including like the growing pains and like coming to an understanding with each other and like how you grow together. Like, I love that. Like, yes, the scene we're about to transition to is great, but like their intimate communicating moments are huge and like really do progress in an important way. And I like all of these things they put in here.
I actually like those scenes more than the scene we're about to go into.
I mean, I like the scene we're about to go to, but this whole, like, my question about this scene that they're doing is like, how much of this was like one take? Like, how did they film this and break this up? Because, like, this is a very long scene. Like, the talking portion and then, like, the Daddy Nueng scene we get to in a minute. Like, how much of this was one take? Like, you know what I mean? Versus, like, how did they break it up? I'm just curious because it's a very long scene with the two of them. Just wonder how they actually shot it and, like, rehearsed it and stuff because it's long, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not a play. It's like a TV show. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, they have, I know this one's, like, really long. But, like, a lot of their scenes are just, like, really long. It's not, like, like, in America media, like, we're very quick with the scenes. It's only, like, a couple lines and we'll go away. This one, like, you only get, like, 3 or 4 scenes at a part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right, I know. It's very long. The scenes are long. And, like, obviously they took other takes because, like, they do, like, reverse shots and things like that. So, obviously they did multiple takes of this. I'm just curious, like, how much did they film in one take of this? Because it's just very long. I'm just curious. Because, like, kudos to them for, like, staying in the moment for so long. It's almost like a play, like, how long this is. And I appreciate that about this versus, like, American media where it's, like, it's a lot of cutting and editing that just, like, breaks stuff up. This is meant to be a very intimate moment. Okay, and the fact that we're sitting in the moment with them and there's not a ton of editing that goes on. Like, a lot of the scenes, like, a lot of the edits and the cuts, like, you stay with them for a pretty long period of time. Except, like, when they do the reverse shots. And if you don't know what that means, it's, like, basically, it's common when you have conversations where basically the editing will go from, like, the focus on one character's face and then you'll cut to the other character. So you can, like, see a reaction.
It's, like, over-the-shoulder shots.
Yeah, exactly. It's usually, like, a close-up of the face and then they intercut. So, like, you can see, like, reactions from the other person. So you get more of, like, the back and forth in a dialogue, okay? But they don't always do that in the scene. Sometimes they just let it happen and they don't edit it. So, yeah, you get one person's point of view, but also, like, you're in that moment with them for a longer period of time. So the effect is that it makes it more intimate from the audience because you're, like, in that moment with them more before being, like, taken out of it by an edit. So that's why I'm curious about how they filmed that because they do this in this scene. So anyway, and it makes the point of the scene that this is a hugely intimate moment when they're having the conversation. Okay. But now let's pivot. So the thirstiness radiating off of Big Nueng. When Little Nueng's like, I can only say the most coveted of pet names once. The thirstiness radiating off her is something not even Lesbian Jesus can quench. Like, this is so thirsty the way she's, like, staring at Big Nueng. Or staring at Little Nueng. And then Big Nueng is like, let's get to the point now. She's like, she starts pivoting because the bitch is thirsty. And she's like, do you love me? It's like, girl, what did she just say? Anyway. I think, like, okay, I think what's happening, it's not because she doesn't know. I think this is, like, needy Big Nueng in a way. She's thirsty, but also being needy because she's like, I think she wants all the courting. Like, she's getting courted the way she likes being courted. And she's like, I want to hear you say all the things. It's not because she doesn't believe her. She's like, do all the things. Romance me right now, is what she's saying. But Little Nueng's a little shit. And she's like, I don't know, maybe a little. What a bitch. It's so funny. She's like, I'm going to tease you instead. She's like, I don't know. And Big Nueng is needy in the scene and pulls Little Nueng closer and literally whines. She's like, Nueng, do you love me? Like, she's so needy in this scene. And Little Nueng is loving every second of teasing her because this is fun. And I think that Little Nueng is, like, preparing to keep this going, but Big Nueng again gets even needier, and she, like, leans into Little Nueng's space and, like, does this little, like, boop thing with her nose against Little Nueng's chin, and she keeps and, like, gets real quiet, and she's like, come on, like, no, tell me, do you? And after the chin bump thing, Little Nueng, like, completely transitions from, like, teasing to melting, because what is this? And she admits that she loves her and thought that was obvious from space. She's like, can't you see I'm doing all the things, like, can't you see that? To which Big Nueng, yes, she can, but she's being needy and she wants to hear it. So then Big Nueng boldly asks, where's my birthday present? Which, Big Nueng, Little Nueng didn't know she was going to see you tonight. So did you expect her to run away with your gift in tow? Like, I thought this was funny from that point of view, because I was like, Little Nueng does buy her something. So I was like, you want her to travel? She didn't know she was going to see you.
I love that she's doing exactly what, like, Little Nueng did on her birthday.
Yes!
They're like, what'd you get me? Or, like, where's my present?
They're both needy, and they both crave affection from the other one. And Big Nung is being needy right now. But also, like, it's Little Nung, you know the bitch got you multiple gifts. So, like, gift singular was also wrong.
Like, this whole month is your birthday.
Right.
she's got plans.
She's got so many plans.
Like, you sent her away on your actual birthday, so she's going to be making that up for a while and making you make it up as well.
You promised her she could do anything she wants. Anything. Okay, so Little Nung's like, you want your gift? Obviously, I didn't bring anything. So, I mean, Big Nung should know where this is going, and I'm pretty sure she does. So Little Nung's like, close your eyes. And this time, Big Nung does it without protesting. She's like, I like my last thing, so I trust you. And then Little Nung whips her dress off in one motion, which is impressive. Did she practice this? Where'd she get this stuff from? Like, damn, girl.
Could you imagine her just, like, practicing it over and over? That would get so annoying to just keep resetting.
Oh my god, I gotta put it back on. Yeah, oh my god. But anyway, smooth as fuck, Little Nung. Good job. Then she tells Big Nung, she like wraps her arms around Big Nung's neck and is like, I'm your present. Which is super bold. And like, realistically, the only thing she could have gifted her, because she didn't know she was going to see Big Nung. So this was kind of obvious in hindsight. And then Big Nung, without being told, opens her eyes to see the expanse of the present sitting in her lap, and also to emphasize what she means. To emphasize what she means, Little Nung is like, slips off Big Nung's shirt. So Little Nung has come a long way from being like inexperienced to like taking control. Like, good for her. And then they like make out for a bit before Big Nung gets this going and like pins Little Nung to the bed, and then Daddy Nung comes to play. And I don't like this term. I don't like the daddy thing, but like,
yeah,
I never really understood the definition of that until this scene, because that is the best way to describe Big Nung in this is daddy.
Yeah,
Big
I think
Nung.
that might be the definition. Like, if you look in the dictionary, it's a video.
It's this scene. It's this scene. It's Big Nung in this scene. It's Daddy Nung comes to play. And Big Nung says, since you're my present, you should do exactly what I want.
Hold on. That should be the name of a fan fiction. Daddy Nung comes to play.
Oh my god. I'm sure it is. Like, how could it not be?
I'm sorry, it distracted me.
I mean, it's Big Nung is distracting in the scene, so like, understandable. Daddy Nung comes to play. So she's like, you're my present, you should do what I want. And Little Nung's eyes flutter, where she's like, okay, do whatever you want. You promised me I could do whatever I want last time, but like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm kind of into whatever this is, because this is exciting, all of this. So like, who's getting the gift here? Everyone gets a gift. Everyone wins in this scene.
Just like their relationship.
Right. Just like
it's a give and take.
Everyone's a winner. All right. So Big Nung starts getting more they start getting more into this. And then Little Nung rolls to the side, which seems to surprise Big Nung a bit. Because Big Nung's like, what is this game and how do I win? How do we all win in this game? So Big Nung just like rolls with it and starts like peppering kisses along like Little Nung's neck. And while she's doing that, she sprinkles in a few like love bites. And if you watch Little Nung's face really closely, the first time Big Nung does it, Little Nung's like eyebrow shoots up and she starts squirming like she's into it. And Big Nung, who's the Little Nung whisperer, recognizes the body language. Even though she's like can't see her face, she can like feel all the body language. And so she keeps going with this and then like does the little like ear tug with her teeth, and that elicits a lot more of a noticeable reaction from Little Nung. So Big Nung, again, these two are amazing at communicating even without words. Big Nung pauses and immediately goes, what's wrong? Because like you're moving around a lot. And then again, this is a good partner, somebody who's listening to their partner's body language and making sure she's okay. So, okay, while they're in this paused state, Big Nung's can see, like her eyes are open now, because before she was like eyes closed in the moment. Now she can see what's going on and like the body language, and she can see Little Nung's reaction. And Little Nung looks complete like she just saw heaven a minute ago. And so she can't even form words. Like Little Nung's so into it, she just can't even like make words. And I think Big Nung's seen this before and puts together, so you're into this. So she asks her flat out, do you like this? And when Little Nung doesn't respond, because the gay has fried her brain, Big Nung like just does it again. She's like, okay, let's try this again. And this time she's watching. Like, her eyes are not closed. She's watching little Nueng to see what the reaction is. And a positive reaction happens again. So she pauses again to whisper in little Nueng's ear this time. And while she's doing this, she's like gently rubbing little Nueng's shoulder. Like, she's like trying to make a safe space for little Nueng to like express how she feels. Because this is another insanely intimate moment. And they're talking about like sexual preferences, basically, which can be hard for people to do, especially if you're shy about it. So like, I like that Big Nueng is creating like a safe space for little Nueng to like express herself while they're in this kind of an intimate moment. Because usually when they're communicating, it's little Nueng that has to create like the safe space for Big Nueng to use words to express how she's feeling. Big Nueng is better with actions and like showing how she feels. She's less inhibited, and like little Nueng's the opposite. So I like that they both do this thing for each other where they're like, I know this is not your strong suit. Let me make you as comfortable as possible and talk you through, like, you know what I mean? Like, I like that Big Nueng does this for little Nueng. It's again, marker of healthy relationship, which we'll keep pointing out, and good partners. This is what being a good partner is.
We have to keep pointing it out because we never get it.
Right, exactly. No, we never get it. Or we get like really weird scenes where I'm like, is this one into it? This seems weird. Like, she pauses like purposely to be like, is this okay? Like, if you like it, tell me. Like, again, very good. They're good communicators. I will say that about them. And like, also like the way Big Nueng has positioned herself with little Nueng, it's almost like she's like creating like protective body language again to like protect little Nueng and create a safety. Like, she's cradling little Nueng's head and creating this wall with her body while she's doing the little thumb rubs on the shoulder and like whispering. So she's trying to like get her to relax and like feel safe and tell her what she wants, because Big Nueng's greatest pleasure on earth is just like pleasing little Nueng. So she's like, tell me what you like, tell me what you want. And little Nueng does. So she like turns to face Big Nueng and tells her like, she starts to say, I want, and then kind of like trails off a bit. Because little Nueng, the woman with all the confidence and audacity of the world, like, is nervous in this moment because this is the thing that she struggles with, right? Because it's new, I think. And then they stare for like a hot second. I think this is the way Big Nueng, I think the way Big Nueng is looking at her, like she's a whole ass meal, gives little Nueng some confidence back. And because Big Nueng in the scene is the queen of consent and asks again, like, tell me what you want. And this time, little Nueng now feels safe and feels confident enough to bravely say, I want you to keep what you're doing, like, bite me and shit, like, let's go. And before we get into the BDSM of it all, can we take a moment to appreciate the realism of this scene? First of all, they let them play out, before we even get here, they let the two of them play out a lot of the lead up for the sexcapades, which is realistic, okay? It's not usually you just jump into it. It's like, there's a whole lead up, and they let them do the whole lead up to get here. So I appreciate that, the realism of it. Second, I appreciate they let the actors show what the characters are feeling here. Like, they pause and like check in, and like it feels a lot, and the body language that they're exhibiting feels much more intimate because this is a very intimate scene. Obviously, it's not just about the sex part. It's like everything about this is very intimate, what they're doing. And third, my favorite acting choice is when Big Nueng, after this, leans in to kiss little Nueng. After the "You're my present" line, you should let me do what I want kind of thing. Fi goes in to kiss Yoko, and she closes her eyes while she's doing it. And the realism is excellent because it's just like shows that like Big Nueng is feeling that kiss and is in the moment and like losing herself in it. So again, we don't get many scenes like that either. Like, the realism of that was like, they nailed it. Like, good job, everybody. Well done. There's a lot to appreciate in this moment. Fourth, my last thing. Can we appreciate the fact that we get a scene with two women engaging, because they're about to start doing BDSM kind of stuff, and they're engaging in sex games that are not, quote, like, fluffy and wholesome. You know what I mean? We rarely get, like, rough sex scenes between women. It's usually, like, very sensual and gentle and, like, romantic, which is great, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But not everyone's into that. Like, let's show all the flavors of women being intimate with each other. So I appreciate that Blank had a variety of the intimate scenes that went on, and it's more than most shows do, and so I like that they had that. And plus, it's like realist. It's paying homage to the book and making it more intimate what they were doing. Because in the book, they're straight up, like they watch 50 Shades of Grey together. Like they are into that stuff. Like the dom sub stuff is like their dynamic in the bedroom. So this is kind of has that flavor, but it's more intimate in a way they like communicate, and like a lot more is happening that I appreciate seeing on screen, because like we rarely get it with women. So I like that.
The communication aspect of everything is just
Insane.
amazing, because you don't see that ever on TV. The checking in with someone.
Yeah. Especially in this situation, because like it could easily get read as weird, because again, the age gap and like the power dynamics of the age gap and that kind of stuff could like, because Little Nueng's like the sub in this scenario, could read as problematic. But like in the show, they emphasize their communicating a hell of a lot more than the book. The book did not always do that, but like the show really harps on it, and it makes their relationship read completely differently. So I do like these changes that they did in the show. It elevated the source material in my mind. So I love that about them. And it's rare. Like we don't normally get scenes like this with women. So like I really enjoy everything about this, because it adds so much to the story in my mind. And it's fun. So there's that. Okay, back to the scene. So after Little Nueng gives consent to the biting, Big Nueng just goes for it. And after a beat, Big Nueng notices that Little Nueng's real quiet. So she checks in with her again and tells her, hey, it's okay to fully feel whatever it is you're feeling. Like, because I think there's like components of like shame and what is the proper way to do this, and like without being too forward and that kind of stuff. And I think like Big Nueng's like, it's okay. She's like, personally, I prefer if you feel whatever the hell you're feeling and let it all out. The translation of this is, I want to hear you, which is like, again, wife her faster, Little Nueng.
But it's also the same thing that they've been telling each other since the very beginning. Feel what you want to feel with me.
And show me and tell me. And yeah. Yeah. So look, Big Nueng is saying, hey, even in these moments, like, feel what you're feeling, be you. Don't hold anything back. Like, be yourself with me is another way to translate it, like you said. So then Big Nueng gets to the finger banging of it all, and Little Nueng starts breathlessly chanting Big Nueng's name, and Big Nueng is so thrilled by her gift, she calls her good girl, which is like her ultimate pet name for Little Nueng, and this leads into the dom sub shit, which is really funny. And this keeps going. Who knows how many times? Who knows how many O's everybody got in this scene? But well done, everybody. Back to the book. I just want to say one other thing about the book change. So in the book, their like dom sub dynamic was super explicit, and the purpose of that was like through Little Nueng, Big Nueng learned that she likes being in charge in the bedroom, because like if you think about Big Nueng, she was born to lead, right? She's the eldest of the royal family or whatever, and like so she was like told her whole life, you're going to be exceptional, you're going to be a leader. So being in charge was something I think she grew up with like doing as the eldest, but she learns that like she's like, no, I like this in other aspects of my life. And like so I think the writers in the show, and the actors too, did a good job of depicting that from the source material in this scene, but like we said, with a different flavor on it that like was truer to the way the relationship was going in the show. And now that we're here, I have to ask, did Big Nueng let anyone know she found Little Nueng? Because what happens? To lead up to all this, she was just calling Little Nueng nonstop. She barges into the room. They have this whole emotional conversation. Then they get right to the fucking. And then it's like, did she let anybody know he found Little? Because remember, Sam's like, let me know when you find her. I'm sure Chet was also like, did you check in with anybody ever? Like,
she's like, they can wait till the morning.
Right, like, which is valid because she's in the moment, but like, I wonder, are the other people like waiting to hear from her? Did she ever check in?
Chet got distracted by something else, like
right, something shiny.
He never thinks about her too long.
It's true. I think Big Nueng left them unread all night, and then at like 5 a.m. when they finally went to sleep, she's like, I found her. Everything's fine.
Just be like, she's about to go to sleep. Oh, I should probably.
Oh yeah, Sam. Everything's fine, Sam.
No, she just sends them a thumbs up emoji.
Right? Yeah. It's like.
But then Sam gets a second emoji with fire.
And then Mon takes Sam's phone away from her. Okay. Then my favorite editing choice of all time. Then we transition from the call me daddy to call her stepmother scene with zero warning. Okay? Just that's what happens here. Because then we cut over immediately from that scene to the next morning where Big Nueng is returning Little Nueng to Chet. And Chet decides now, after Big Nueng topped Little Nueng all night, and after Big Nueng explicitly told him not to cross lines with her, now is the best possible time to propose to Big Nueng for the second time.
The scene is weird.
Yes! The transition to this is weird. This whole thing is weird. And his rationale this time is, you're the most suitable person to be Little Nueng's mother. Like, what war crime was this, writers? We just went from, like, that scene to this scene. Also, I love the way Little Nueng and Big Nueng look at each other like, what the are we dreaming? Is this a nightmare? Like, what is happening? And the way Big Nueng looks back at Chet when he's, like, on the ground proposing, and she's like, what the actual fuck are you doing, Chet? Like, what the actual fuck is this?
Yeah, they're both like, what the hell are you talking about now? Like, they can never, ever have a normal-ish conversation with this dude.
Never.
He is
Never.
always doing something wild that makes absolutely no sense. Like, I don't even know how he comes up with some of this shit.
Like, she explicitly told him, do not cross lines with me.
And he heard nothing, but
literally nothing.
Literally
nothing. So then the Nuengs look at each other like, what the fuck is this? And then the episode rudely ends. It's like supposed to be a cliffhanger, but also it's just like everyone just looks annoyed. Like there's no like, what's Nueng gonna say? I'm like, is Nueng gonna slap him? That was my thought. I'm like, is she gonna like throw the ring in the pool? Like, what is he doing?
World was she ever going to say yes? That was not a cliffhanger.
Right, no, it's definitely not a cliffhanger. It was more like an annoyance after the birthday scene we just got. I was like, why are we here? Go back to that. This is why we
can't have
nice
things.
Darling. This song fits so many scenes of this show. But damn.
What else also fits here? I hate it here.
I hate it here. Yeah. I hate it here.
So yeah, I will go to Big Nueng's gardens. Big
also, but Daddy, I love him. So there's also that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a Big Nueng, Little Nueng song. 100 million%.
Can you stop?
Anyway.
Final
thoughts? Last words?
I don't think so. I was trying to figure out another song. There was a song that I could not figure out the title, and now I don't even remember what it was, but I was singing in my head this whole time. But I can't. I just, nope. Anyway. Big Gay Energy Award?
I mean, Daddy Nueng. There's that.
I mean, then, yeah. Like,
yeah,
how do you not give it to that? I give it to the, like, the let me hear you part.
Oh my god. Yeah, literally that. And then also, like, Little Nueng's move of, like, let me sit on your lap while I tell you this. That had a lot of big gay energy. Yeah. So
big. But, I mean, there was also some big gay energy in Little Nueng learning to cook with Auntie Nim.
That was so cute. That was just adorable. I think big gay energy was also when she was like, you're not going to invite the hot doctor and my dad to your birth. Like, the way she was baiting her was really funny. And that whole scene, too, where she comes out of the bathroom and she's like, why are you not ready for bed? I want to have sex with you. It was basically Little Nueng in that scene. It was so funny. She's a thirsty bitch. Like, she really is. Like, go read the book. Like, Little Nueng is such a thirsty bitch. I love her. I do love Little Nueng. She's great.
Okay, so that concludes our episode. If you made it this far,
you're the real hero.
4-hour episode.
It's not going to be 4 hours because a lot of we just kept recording this and we had to take breaks.
It's like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have a word. Technically, it's a phrase. That I want to challenge you to use in a comment or a review. I don't know how you would use this in a review, but if you can figure it out, please do it. Also, because we need reviews. Anyway, without spelling or looking up, I'm going to tell you what it is. The word / phrase is mise en place. And that means that's all the dishes that you have out to get ready to cook.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. Give me one second.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, no, it's very, you would not know how to spell it. It means putting in place / gathering. And if you want to, I learned this word from Selena and Chef. And if you're not a fan of traditional cooking shows, go check out that show because it's freaking hilarious because it's her just basically failing at cooking, trying to learn from these professional chefs. One time she like almost sets her house on fire. So it's great. It's beautiful. I love that show. My favorite one. Anyway.
Well, now you have multiple assignments.
Yeah.
Where can they leave us a review, Kaitlynn?
You can leave... Shut up. Shut up. Sit down. Shut up. Sit. 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 Sit your little ass down. Sit. She got pissed at me for saying ass.
The way that escalated.
You can leave us a review on Apple. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, rate us on Spotify, or leave a review on Podchaser. If you go to biggayenergy.com, we have a part of our homepage that gives you links to other different places to leave a review. So definitely do that, please.
Please and thank you. We appreciate all of your interactions with us, your comments, your thoughts. We want to hear what you think. What did you think of Daddy Nueng? What did you think of the Daddy Nueng to be her stepmother transition? Because that made me laugh so hard the first time I saw this. I was like, what are we doing here after that? That was wild. So actually, you know who gets a lot of big gay energy? Whoever the hell was the editor that was like, let's transition like this. Because that was just rude. That was actually homophobic. Anyway.
Well, I don't think that was the editor.
Whoever was like the writer who was like, you know what would be fun? We did this. Then cut to Chet proposing. Like, what the fuck?
No, those writers had like the time of their lives with this show. They're like, what insane thing could we do?
The writer of the book had more fun with what insane thing can I do next? Because the book is quite the journey. Anyway, that was Blank the Series. Episode 203. Until next time, hydrate for lesbian Jesus.
And gay it up all over the place. Daddy
Bye. And with that, we've been Big Gay Energy. If you like this episode, check out all our other episodes right here on YouTube.
Please like, leave a comment below, and subscribe for more amazing super gay content.